muscle. Muscular features signal power and performance. Attributes they've never seen in this build. Behold, a new breed. Ready to swarm. Ready to sting. Ready to electrify. The defiant, power-packed, all-new hybrid electric Dodge Hornet RT. Performance electrified.
When Caroline has a cough, she takes Robitussin, so she can have those one-on-ones again.
Hey, Jim.
Hey.
Can we talk about your yoga breaks?
Sure.
Get fast, powerful cough relief with Robitussin and find your voice.
Robitussin.
It's back. Applebee's all-you-can-eat boneless wings, just $12.99.
Power outages are unpredictable, inconvenient, and disruptive to your life, posing a real threat to your comfort and safety. When the power goes out, you have no lights, no refrigeration, no heating or air conditioning. Your well or sump pump won't work. Your modern daily electronics are rendered useless. And what if the power's out for days or weeks? Are you prepared? You can be with a Generac home standby generator.
With the Generac, it powers our well, our refrigerator, and my CPAP machine, which are all things that we need to survive on a day-to-day basis.
When a power outage occurs, your Generac home standby generator automatically powers up, so your life goes on without disruption. You and your family are comfortable, safe, and secure. Generac generators run on your home's existing natural gas or propane, and Generac's Mobile Link remote monitoring system keeps you posted on operating status, maintenance updates, and more. Generac generators are designed, engineered, and purpose-built in the USA. Generac is the #1 manufacturer of home standby generators in the world. 8 out of 10 home generators are Generac, with thousands of satisfied customers.
We chose Generac because we see them everywhere. After the hurricane, I looked at my wife and said, thank God we have a Generac. We were safe.
And owning a generator is easier than ever. Special financing is available with low monthly payment options. Act now, and you will also receive a free 10-year warranty valued at $1,035. Call or go online now to request your free quote with one of Generac's 8,000 nationwide dealers. The call is free, the quote is free, and there's no obligation to buy. Call or go online now so the next time there's a power outage, your home powers up. Power your life with Generac. Call or go online to request your free quote today.
It's a fact. No other news network out there is trusted more than the Weather Channel, because America doesn't trust hurricane season to just anyone.
I need a haircut.
Oh, okay.
Can you believe it?
Nice bed head.
I know, right? How great is that?
Pretty great.
There's nothing better than getting your hair back. So go to Bosley, America's #1 hair restoration experts, and the only permanent solution to hair loss that's protected by the Bosley Guarantee. For free info and even a free gift card, scan the code now. You'll see how the latest technology can regrow your real hair and regain your confidence.
Doesn't that hurt?
Sure does.
Don't wait. Get your hair back. Scan the code for free info and a gift card for $250 off. Bosley, the confidence to be you again.
The Weather Channel, now available to everyone.
This is epic!
Trusted live coverage when it matters most is now yours to stream with the Weather Channel TV app, real-time radar, and maps that let you track all the action. Exclusive storm coverage to keep you informed, landfall cameras and live interactive chats with our weather experts, and so much more. There's never been a better way for everyone to watch the Weather Channel. Available now on these platforms. Download now to start your free 7-day trial.
Tropical storm Ophelia made landfall earlier this morning.
The forecast inland is much worse than it is here on the coast.
We do have quite a few power lines down throughout the town.
Weather from this storm Ophelia will be felt even in New England.
Watching the very rough surf, coastal flooding, and a serious inland flooding threat as well.
Those are some of the sights and sounds as Ophelia rolled ashore earlier this morning as a strong tropical storm, but it's still bringing wind and flooding to parts of North Carolina, the mid-Atlantic, up into the Northeast. Here's a live look at Ocean City, Maryland. You've got one of the outer bands that's persisted, got some onshore flow, got another round of potential coastal flooding late tonight as another high tide cycle happens and we get additional rain bands coming in off the Atlantic. And let's take you out to Long Island, getting pretty far out to the east there. Here's Hampton Bays, New York. Now you are far away from the center of Ophelia, but got a frontal boundary and there's a pressure gradient between Ophelia and the high offshore. So it's windy and raw, low 60s, rainy, not the best boating and beach day by any stretch. And we still have a tropical storm. Now, Ophelia is barely a tropical storm, but look at the large area that's getting rain and at least gusts to tropical storm force. The only sustained winds of tropical storm force probably over the Sounds of North Carolina and maybe up near this frontal boundary. So most of you not getting sustained winds of tropical storm force, but we still have plenty of wind and water concerns at the coast and inland. This will lose its tropical characteristics by tomorrow and move eastward as it weakens. But in the meantime, look at that huge pressure gradient all the way from North Carolina up to New England. A lot of strong onshore flow, and we've got the kind of the business end of the storm here, the heavy rain right north of the center going through the Richmond area, bands coming into the Delaware Bay region, and windy, rainy conditions up farther to the north and east. Now, we still have, let me back up really quickly to show you, with the circulation center here, we have winds from west to east blowing across the Sounds, and we have winds from kind of east to west blowing into the western part of Chesapeake Bay. That's why we've got the onshore flow from the Sounds to the Outer Banks, and then across the Chesapeake to the west side. That's where we could still get 2, 3, 4 feet of saltwater flooding above normally dry ground in the next several hours. Again, when we go through another high tide later tonight. So that's where the storm surge warnings are still in effect. And then the coastal flood warnings go up here into the Jersey shore. That onshore flow in the northeastern side could have another round of coastal flooding overnight tonight. When you go through your next high tide cycle about 3 o'clock in the morning, we already had coastal flooding there. And this is where the tropical storm warnings remain in effect, mainly for gusts to tropical storm force. Maybe a couple people will see sustained winds. But then we could have gusts to 50 on the Jersey shore, gusts 40 to 50 in the D.C. and Baltimore regions as the center comes closer to you tonight. A lot of you getting gusts to tropical storm force, especially Atlantic City down to Hatteras. But here's where we got to watch over the next several hours, Alex. The heavy rain, the flash flooding moving through Virginia.
Well, how about we switch gears and talk a bit about the severe threat that we're following here in the plains. Check out Harrison, Nebraska. Yesterday, tennis ball-sized hail reported here, damaging homes and several vehicles. In some spots, so much hail came down, it actually looked like a blanket of snow. And today we are watching places like Kansas City for the threat of hail, damaging winds. Can't rule out a tornado either here for you. So watching the skies closely and staying aware of the weather situation is going to be key here right across the middle of the country. A pretty decent bit of real estate under that threat for severe weather here for the day, stretching from essentially the upper Midwest, including Minnesota, all the way down into north portions of Texas, including around the Dallas area, but mostly concentrating on this zone in the darkest red. That's where we're likely to see severe weather from Kansas City southbound over towards the Tulsa area. Now, we have some watches that are in place right now, severe thunderstorm watches. The one here off towards central portions of Iowa, that's until 10 o'clock Central Time. The one in the eastern portions of Kansas into Missouri, including Kansas City here for you, that's until 9 o'clock. And then you have another one here, northeastern portions of the state of Oklahoma. You've got that watch out until 11 o'clock. So through this tonight, we'll be watching the skies, damaging wind, hail, the biggest threats. But isolated tornado is something we can't rule out. Already seeing some active storms right now, including what's going on here into Oklahoma. We've been watching this kind of lone storm here, continuing to kind of slowly drift towards the south and the east. Parts of McIntosh, Pittsburgh counties here until 5:15, dealing with this warning. Big hail with this particular storm here. We've been watching this over the last couple of hours. You can see showing up right now, 3.5-inch hail being estimated here by the radar. So, I mean, this is massive. Already had some reports back to the west with that particular storm of even some golf ball size hail. So, yeah, that means business. Then we had northbound just south of Kansas City, a warned storm here until 4:30. Watch for some hail and gusty winds with that.
I suffer with psoriatic arthritis and psoriasis. I was on a journey for a really long time to find some relief. Cosentyx works for me.
Cosentyx helps real people get real relief from the symptoms of psoriatic arthritis or psoriasis, serious allergic reactions, severe skin reactions that look like eczema, and an increased risk of infections, some fatal, have occurred. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms, had a vaccine or plan to, or if IBD symptoms develop or worsen.
I move so much better because of Cosentyx.
Ask your rheumatologist about Cosentyx.
Kelly needs new floors.
I need new floors.
So she went to the flooring experts at LL Flooring, and it was as easy as 1, 2, 3, floor. Nice one, Kelly. LL Flooring, every step covered.
Every day, businesses everywhere are asking,
is it possible?
With Comcast Business, it is.
Is it possible to use predictive monitoring to address operations issues?
We can help with that.
Can we provide healthcare virtually anywhere?
We can help with that too.
Is it possible to survey foot traffic across all of our locations?
Yeah, absolutely. With the advanced connectivity and intelligence of global secure networking from Comcast Business, it's not just possible, it's happening.
When you can save on Target's Good and Gather groceries and all the fall flavors. When quality ingredients bring more to the table. And when you're serving up taste they love at low prices, that's totally Target.
SC Johnson.
At Consumer Cellular, our customer service team is based here in America.
America?
America.
God shed his grace on thee and crown thy good with brotherhood from sea to shining sea.
Beautiful.
Meet the Chevy ZR2 family. They'll never let you down. With features like DSSV dampers, MT tires, and an off-road performance display. When the going gets tough, it's a family you can count on. Introducing the Silverado, Colorado, and Silverado HD ZR2 family of trucks.
Get saucy. Applebee's all-you-can-eat boneless wings, just $12.99.
Introducing New Starry Lemon Lime Soda. Music to my ears.
You don't have ears.
Starry, it's different.
Try killing bugs the worry-free way. Not the other way. Zevo traps use light to attract and trap flying insects with no odor and no mess. They work continuously, so you don't have to. Zevo, people-friendly, bug-deadly.
It's a fact. No other news network out there is trusted more than the Weather Channel.
This is epic!
Trusted to be there, where and when you need us. Trusted to give you every advantage before the storm.
Absolutely unbelievable.
Because America doesn't trust hurricane season to just anyone.
Where where is the storm coming from. You're looking out at Oceanon Pier, so you're looking directly south right now as the wind is blowing from east to west. So it's an easterly wind pushing the Atlantic Ocean through the pier and also bringing in storm surge inundation here onto the beach here in Atlantic City, North Carolina.
Tropical Storm Ophelia making landfall a little after 6 this morning there in Emerald Isle, North Carolina, just 12 miles from where Justin Michaels was.
And the storm lashed the coastal communities with strong winds. It was right below hurricane strength, brought down trees, and certainly kicked up a lot of waves and storm surge, Alex.
Yeah, welcome back to our special coverage tracking Ophelia. I'm meteorologist Alex Wallace here with our hurricane expert, Dr. Rick Knabb. And still dealing with this system. It's not in a hurry to get out of here.
No, and the I-95 corridor in Virginia really getting hammered with the heavy rain, the flash flooding, and Ophelia is an important reminder that while we may be past the exact peak of the hurricane season around the 10th of September, we are still very much in the busy part of the season that goes into October.
No doubt about it. We even in October oftentimes see that kind of uptick in activity. Now, the storm causing problems here for us, not just where it officially made landfall this morning, but up and down the East Coast. Yeah, this is from Ocean City, New Jersey, and that is deep water covering the road. And the Northeast, not out of it just yet. We're going to deal with the rain moving through for the rest of this evening and into tomorrow as well. Let's get the very latest on Ophelia now. Dr. Knabb?
Yeah, it's still a tropical storm, although I think there are very few people actually experiencing sustained winds of tropical storm force, maybe over the Sounds and over the Chesapeake, maybe over the water near that frontal boundary, but it is still producing significant water impacts and some gusty winds to tropical storm force, even though it's going to be weakening and losing its tropical characteristics as it moves north and east into tomorrow. But look at that pressure gradient here pushing into the mid-Atlantic and northeast between Ophelia and that high offshore. And we've got the heaviest rain moving into the Richmond, Virginia area right now, flash flood warning. Got this band coming into the Delaware Bay area and the Jersey Shore, and just a windy, rainy period there up in the northeast of New England. Because the low is here, we still have the westerly flow taking the Sound water onto the Outer Banks, so you're getting Sound side flooding, and then the Chesapeake's getting pushed from east to west. That's where we're still going to have 2, 3, maybe locally 4 feet of saltwater flooding above normally dry ground, especially when we get back to another high tide overnight tonight. That's where storm surge warnings are still in effect. Stay off those coastal roads. Same goes for Atlantic City, the Jersey Shore, where overnight high tide could have some coastal flooding, 1, 2, maybe 3 feet of saltwater flooding above the normally dry ground. Still have the tropical storm warnings there from Ocracoke and Hatteras up to lower Chesapeake and up through Ocean City, Maryland, mainly for gusts to tropical storm force. And you could have gusts 40, 50 miles an hour on the Jersey Shore, could have gusts 45 to 50 in Baltimore and D.C. as the stronger part of this system moves northward. And the big concern over the next several hours is going to be inland flash flooding, Richmond, Virginia, up to D.C. and Baltimore through the next several hours, Alex. Really getting dangerous on the roads tonight.
Yeah, I mean, really just best bet just to stay put, stay inside.
Absolutely.
All right, well, let's work our way up to Philadelphia, checking on things here, and not the brightest of times here for our Saturday. Winds have been gusty. We've been kind of dealing with just a showery regime here for a good portion of our day, and we'll be dealing with that for the rest of our afternoon, evening time period as well. Let's get you to what's going on here a bit farther to the south there, D.C., Baltimore, where we are dealing with some rain. That's been moving on through here. There's D.C., there's Baltimore. Annapolis getting a bit of a break, but heading down towards North Beach, you're seeing some rain there. And this is basically what we'll find for the rest of tonight. Watching for kind of these showers rolling on by. Occasionally, some of those could be heavier with some gustier winds as well. Through the overnight period, maybe hearing some of that wind kind of screaming just outside of the window. By your Sunday, late morning, things should start to improve. The rainfall kind of tapering off, letting up a bit, and we'll start to see things improving, even with the winds starting to get less gusty as well. But it looks like about another inch or so possible here for us in and around D.C. before it's all said and done. Then we get towards Philly, where, again, you saw those gray skies showing up there, a lot of cloud cover, and again, we'll see some occasional showers. That's what's going on now, and more of that coming on through for this evening. We'll see, again, breaks in the action at times. times, but then eventually you'll see more heavy rains coming through. Winds getting gusty as well. Heading up towards Reading, you'll see more of that. Once we get in towards your Monday, though, I'd say an improved time. Can't rule out still some clouds and some lighter sprinkles, but certainly any steady rains, we should be done with that. About an inch here for us in eastern Pennsylvania. New York City, Long Island, that's an area that's seeing some wet weather right now. More coming in from the south, so heads up there. Islip area breaking the action now, but you'll see some more rain coming on through. You'll deal with this for tonight and into your Sunday morning now. So a lot of some of the steadier rains coming on through as many of us are going to be sleeping. But even as we get into your Sunday afternoon, I'd say a day for the indoor activities here in New York City.
My bucket's leaking.
Look.
Oh my gosh, Milo caught a fish.
A fish?
A what?
Back to the lake. Fast. Stop taking pictures.
Mom, what do I do?
Nothing, baby. All good.
We're a fish ambulance.
We are?
Totally.
Hang in there, kids.
Almost there.
Okay, guys, let's go.
Bye, fishy.
Life's grander in the first ever Grand Highlander. Toyota, let's go places.
There it is. That feeling you get when you can do more with less asthma. It starts with Dupixent. Dupixent is not for sudden breathing problems. It's an add-on treatment for specific types of moderate to severe asthma and can help improve lung function for better breathing in as little as 2 weeks. Dupixent helps prevent asthma attacks and can even reduce or eliminate oral steroids. Can you picture it? Dupixent can cause allergic reactions that can be severe. Get help right away if you have rash, chest pain, worsening shortness of breath, tingling, or numbness in your limbs. Tell your doctor about new or worsening joint aches and pain or a parasitic infection. Don't change or stop asthma medicines, including steroids, without talking to your doctor. Who knows what you can do when you do more with less asthma? Ask your asthma specialist about Dupixent.
New Quaker Fruit Fusion with real fruit pieces. A bold start to a bold morning. Quaker, getting up to some good since 1877.
Meet 3 students, all learning to save and spend their money with Chase. Freedom for kids? Thank you, chef. Control for parents? Nice. One bank for both. Chase, make more of what's yours.
It's back. Applebee's all-you-can-eat boneless wings, just $12.99.
Start your day with Nature Made, the #1 pharmacist-recommended vitamin and supplement brand.
Not that into saving, are you?
Whoa, dude, what are you...
Money. You're not into saving money. Because you paid too much for those glasses. Next time, go to America's Best, where 2 pairs and a free quality eye exam start at just $79.95. The exam alone is worth at least $59.
Wow, I gotta go tell my squad.
Hurry! I don't see how that's hurrying. 2 pairs and a free exam starting at $79.95. Book an exam today at americasbest.com.
We live our lives on our home's fabrics. And though we come and go, our odors stay. It's called odor transfer. Left untreated, those odors get trapped inside fabrics and then release smells into your air. Ew. You need new Febreze Fabric Refresher. Its new formula is proven to deliver longer-lasting odor-fighting power so you can enjoy longer-lasting freshness, even hours after spraying. The more everyone sprays, the fresher your whole home stays. New Febreze Fabric Refresher.
The Weather Channel TV app, real-time radar, and landfall cams to bring you every angle of the storm. Available now on these platforms. Download now to start your free 7-day trial.
Look at this scene in parts of coastal North Carolina. Water literally being pushed ashore by the winds of Ophelia here in Washington, North Carolina. We expected saltwater flooding. We expected rain-induced flooding. Some of you getting a combination of the two in coastal areas as Tropical Storm Ophelia still bringing water problems to a large portion of inland and coastal areas of the mid-Atlantic and the Northeast. So I want to focus in on where the rain-induced flood problem is becoming significant, very dangerous along the I-95 corridor here in Virginia, and D.C., Baltimore, and Philadelphia could get in on it later tonight into tomorrow morning. So here's where the center of Ophelia has crossed from North Carolina into Virginia, and on the immediate north side of it, that's where we've got the heaviest rain and the stack of flash flood warnings, unfortunately, going right up I-95 here into the metro Richmond area that's under a flash flood warning until at least 10:15, and there's more heavy rain coming. So really, really important to stay off the roads for the next few hours until this flash flood situation winds down. Petersburg, other areas in the southern metro of Richmond. Again, this is I-95 coming through here, 64 coming through Richmond, and then south of there down to Emporia, your warning goes until 7 p.m. Now, we've got 1 inch per hour rain rate, so it's coming down heavily. So a couple or few more inches of rain are yet to fall, and so in metro Richmond, the heaviest stuff perhaps yet to come. And in Chester, southern suburb of Richmond, high water at the intersection of Route 10 and US 1. And then in Addison, southwest of there, reports of high water over Boynton Plank Road in Dinwiddie County. And then in Durand near Emporia, several roads with high water in various parts of Greensville County. And that has been the corridor where the heaviest rain on the north side have been ever since this came ashore. Also getting heavy rain coming into the Delmarva. Now, overnight tonight, what about the cities farther to the north? You got to watch this main end and then this band coming in. D.C. and Baltimore late tonight. Philadelphia also, and then things getting a little dicier in portions of New England tomorrow, where you'll have a day of potential flash flooding in some of the big cities of the Northeast. Now, our Paul Goodloe spent the day in Norfolk and looks at what conditions have been like there pretty much all day.
That is the USS Wisconsin. It's a battleship which is now, well, a museum here in Norfolk, Virginia. And off to the left, yeah, we got blue sky. Then we keep going left. That's the Nauticus Museum. Both the Wisconsin and the Nauticus Museum closed early at 1 o'clock today because we're still dealing with impacts from Tropical Storm Ophelia. We got the Elizabeth River here, and on this side we have Norfolk. On that side we have Portsmouth, Virginia. So there's a lot of water around here as high tide is coming back this afternoon, and you keep panning upriver. We even see the cranes here of the container ships. That's about 3 miles away. For much of this morning, we had waves of rain coming through, obscuring even the view of those cranes here. So from time to time, we had some pretty moderate tropical downpours. Now, compared to yesterday evening when we were out here, the river was actually much higher, and it was much colder. It was a lot of moisture, a lot of rain coming on through. We're about 2.5 inches of rain storm total so far. We do expect more waves of rain throughout the rest of this Saturday. Sunday, though, looks much drier, much sunnier. Can't rule out some passing showers. And by the way, along this dock, we're expecting a Carnival cruise line to dock here tomorrow. So better weather for the passengers getting off that ship. But right now, we're weathering the worst of Tropical Storm Ophelia. Not out of the woods in terms of more scattered showers today, but the worst of the things, even including flooding, happened before the sun came up this morning. And by the way, fall also began before sun came up this morning at 2:50 a.m. local time. Reporting from Norfolk, Virginia, I'm meteorologist Paul Goodloe. Back to you.
All right, thanks, Paul. Well, we go from dealing with the tropical system there in the east to, well, severe weather right in the middle of the country. You have a number of severe thunderstorm watches that are in play here into Iowa, Missouri, getting into Oklahoma as well. And those watches here indicating areas where conditions are favorable for storms to produce severe weather. Mostly looking at damaging wind and some hail being the primary risks, but can't rule out an isolated tornado here heading on into this evening. Already seeing some of those active storms now, eastern Oklahoma up into Missouri, also into Minnesota, a bit of Iowa in there too. The eastern Dakotas also seeing active storms. This storm continues here in Oklahoma. Severe warning, McIntosh, Pittsburgh counties here until 5:15. Hail has been the primary risk with this particular storm. That warning out until 5:15 as it drifts towards the south and the east there. As we look at sort of the hail sizes here with this particular storm, they have been pretty big. I mean, we're talking getting up there into the tennis ball size range here for you. You see that's heading eastbound, so it heads up there, Indianola, Sam's Point, maybe be on Canadian here as we get to just a bit after the 5 o'clock time frame there. Again, hail, the major threat with that. Then we move northbound. This is Kansas City there. It's to your south and east. Basically, they're just around Harrisonville, Cass, Jackson, Johnson counties until 5 o'clock. Severe thunderstorm warning in effect there. Again, hail going to be a risk for you along with some of that damaging wind. And overall, you can see hail is a threat for a pretty large bit of real estate, and in particular concentrating on this hatched zone here. Eastern Kansas down into Oklahoma, a bit of Missouri. That's where we could be talking 2-inch plus stones. So put those cars in the garage under the carport to protect them here this evening.
Welcome to Stormy Heights, where the windows are always Pella, because the weather is always changing. Pella's fiberglass is the strongest material for windows and patio doors. They're tested from minus 40 degrees Fahrenheit up to 160. The fiberglass frame is even scratch and dent resistant. Pella Windows.
Save on replacement windows by Pella now.
A new arrival alarms the brotherhood of muscle. Muscular features signal power and performance. Attributes they've never seen in this build. Behold, a new breed. Ready to swarm. Ready to sting. Ready to electrify. The defiant, power-packed, all-new hybrid electric Dodge Hornet RT. Performance electrified.
That looks really high.
It is high. Whenever you're ready.
Are there any sticks?
Nope.
You sure? Here we go.
It's time to push your limits.
You're doing great.
Whoa, is that a buffalo?
Wait, that's a cow.
The all-new Subaru Crosstrek Wilderness. Adventure on the edge.
Shop Macy's VIP sale now. Take an extra 30% off designer brands and save 15% on skincare, makeup, fragrances, and more. Plus, find incredible specials. Own your style at Macy's.
Hey, Peyton. Thanks for hosting Slider Sunday.
You got it.
But aren't we missing something?
Look who saved Slider Sunday again!
Wow.
Here we go. Perfect King's Hawaiian slider. Tastes good too.
Classic Eli. Love that guy.
Seriously.
King's Hawaiian Slider Sunday.
The only way to Sunday.
Get saucy. Applebee's all-you-can-eat boneless wings, just $12.99.
Hi, Grandma. I played baseball today.
Oh, that's great.
What position did you play?
First base.
That's what Grandpa used to play. When our hearing wouldn't allow us to use a regular phone, it made us feel isolated.
It became difficult to communicate with our friends and family.
Clear Captions was an easy solution for us.
Clear Captions provides captions on a phone like captioning on your TV, so you can see what the caller is saying live as they say it.
Making it easy to understand and respond immediately.
There is no insurance or Medicare required. Clear Captions service is provided at no cost to you through a federally funded program. We deliver, install, and train you on how to use your phone, all at no cost to you.
Give your loved ones the independence and connection they deserve.
Call now to see if you qualify to get a Clear Captions phone at no cost to you. Call 1-800-351-2640. That's 1-800-351-2640.
Hundreds of millions of lives impacted.
Look at the wind howling through here.
Thousands of storms forecasted. 40 years of storytelling. And a former National Hurricane Center director. One trusted best-in-class expert team. America's most trusted news network. The Weather Channel.
As Ophelia crawls up the East Coast, well, it has taken a bit of a toll on flights today. This was the scene at New York's JFK airport. Flights averaging about 2-hour delays there, about 100 canceled flights today here and across the U.S. as the tropical storm moves its way from the mid-Atlantic into the Northeast. So yeah, you can imagine some travel headaches here for us for this weekend, all thanks to this system. Let's get you to what's going on right now, the very latest with our still tropical storm Ophelia. This from the very latest advisory here from the National Hurricane Center, the 5 o'clock advisory. 40-mile-per-hour winds moving to the north, right around 12 miles per hour. So there's sort of the center of the circulation there, pushing northbound here through southeastern Virginia. But you can see the scopes, the wet weather that extends well north of that into portions of the Northeast. And that's going to continue to be the case here for us for the rest of tonight, heading on into tomorrow. Still dealing with some tropical storm warnings here for us. You can see northeastern portions of North Carolina into Virginia, the Virginia Beach area, Norfolk sliding up to some of these areas here around the Chesapeake, Ocean City as well. You're in there. So tropical storm conditions still anticipated here for the rest of the evening. Not expecting necessarily widespread tropical storm force winds, but at times that's what we'll find in pockets. So we do have some high wind warnings here for you. You can see some of these areas in the purple, including D.C. and Baltimore. Then you slide here right along basically the Jersey Shore down into Delaware, high wind warnings where some of those wind gusts could get up maybe to around 50 miles per hour or so. Now, when we look at the delay showing up here on this particular map, a little misleading here. It doesn't mean all systems are go, everything is gravy. Not quite the case. We are actually dealing with some ground delay programs that are in effect, Newark as well as JFK right now. So some of those flights that are trying to get to those airports can't do so for essentially right now kind of averaging around 100 minutes or so. So I would absolutely check with the airlines before getting to the airports just to be safe here. It looks like all is good, but that is not the case. Look at the delays across the nation, over 3,000. We've seen 115 cancellations for us at this time, and we anticipate to see more of these issues heading into tomorrow. So second half of the weekend, we will certainly be talking about some more delays and potential cancellations here. So just a heads up, Mid-Atlantic, Northeast, some of these hubs, and of course, when some of these big major hubs see issues, that can oftentimes trickle down to other spots across the nation. So let's take a look at the wind gust forecast heading through the rest of the evening, and you'll see how those winds will continue to stay in the 35, maybe 40-mile-an-hour range there around Philly. New York could get in that range as well. A lot of the stronger winds anticipated to be generally late tonight and overnight. So when many of us are essentially sleeping, the strongest of the winds should be around, but we'll be improving from south to north as we move through the day on Sunday. By Sunday evening, Richmond not really looking for too much in the way of wind gusts. Ocean City as well, and up towards Philadelphia as well. Not too much action in terms of the winds heading into your Sunday evening. Still a bit breezy around NYC for your Sunday night with your 20 to 25 mile per hour wind gusts. But overall, an improved situation is anticipated heading through the day tomorrow. All right, well, we're sticking with the tropics, and Dr. Nab, we still have other entities to follow out there.
Yeah, it's amazing. After Don dissipated in late July, then we had Emily and Franklin form on August 20th. Since then, 12 named storms.
Rapid fire.
Philippe is the 12th one. We got another one out there. Now, that's in the far eastern Atlantic, but wow, has it been busy for the last month. So we have 2 active storms right now. Philippe is out here in the tropical Atlantic. But unfortunately, along with the tropical wave that's behind it, they both have plenty of fuel to tap into, because the deep tropical Atlantic hasn't been worked over as much as this zone farther to the north, with the multiple storms that have eaten up some of the energy in the ocean. But we are still way warmer than average in the tropical Atlantic. I wouldn't be shocked to see formation in the eastern tropical Atlantic last into October. And Philippe is here with upper level wind shear that's relatively weak and cooperative for development, unfortunately. Not ideal, but enough. And then the next tropical wave has now emerged off the coast of Africa. So as of 5 p.m., Philippe is now the next tropical storm that has formed. 40-mile-an-hour winds estimated by satellite is moving off to the west. And it is forecast, fortunately, to turn before reaching the northeastern Caribbean. Now, if it were to stay weaker than forecast, it could avoid the deep layer steering and come into the islands, but it probably would be weaker if that were to happen. So if it intensifies as forecast, this should turn. And then the next tropical wave, 20% chance of developing over the next several days out in the deep tropical Atlantic. Those percentages will probably go up. Now, not everything that forms becomes really strong, and I think Philippe will be the dominant system as the next wave catches up to it. All that high pressure ridging steering west for the next 3 days or so, but then troughing starts to dominate the western and central Atlantic. That will probably impart some shearing, but also some steering if it's strong enough and deep enough, and both of these systems should be at least meandering over the central tropical Atlantic. But we'll have to watch what happens to these two systems, but at least in the near term, no imminent development on our doorstep. But as we head into October, we know that can happen. More on Ophelia when we return.
No matter who you are, there are times it can be tough to be yourself when you have severe asthma. Triggers can pop up out of nowhere and lead to an asthma attack. But no matter what type of severe asthma you have, Tespire can help you be you. Tespire is an add-on treatment for people 12 and over that can help you have fewer attacks, breathe better, and relieve your asthma symptoms. So you can be you, whoever you are. Tespire is not a rescue medication. Don't take Tespire if you're allergic to it. Allergic reactions may occur and can be serious. Rash or eye allergy can happen. Don't stop your asthma treatments unless your doctor tells you to. Tell your doctor if you have a parasitic infection or your asthma worsens. Sore throat, joint, and back pain may occur. Avoid live vaccines. By helping control your asthma, Tespire can help you be you, no matter who you are. Ask your asthma specialist about Tespire today.
Coach Saban, this goat done took over our office.
And he's using it to send out medical bills. Good hands.
Hospital bill for Prime. Yeah. Did you just say Gap?
He's talking about expenses health insurance doesn't cover.
Good thing Coach Prime knows about. Say it one time. Aflac. Because Aflac gets you money to help close that gap.
Now, how do we get this goat out of here?
Aflac. Meet one of my new homies.
Get help with expenses health insurance doesn't cover at Aflac.com.
Elephant would have been scarier.
RSV is out there. For those 60 years and older, protect against RSV with Arexvy. Arexvy is a vaccine used to prevent lower respiratory disease from RSV in people 60 years and older. Arexvy does not protect everyone and is not for those with severe allergic reactions to its ingredients. Those with weakened immune systems may have a lower response to the vaccine. The most common side effects are injection site pain, fatigue, muscle pain, headache, and joint pain.
I chose Arexvy.
RSV? Make it Arexvy.
Every day, businesses everywhere are asking,
Is it possible?
with Comcast Business, it is.
Is it possible to use predictive monitoring to address operations issues?
We can help with that.
Can we provide healthcare virtually anywhere?
We can help with that too.
Is it possible to survey foot traffic across all of our locations?
Yeah, absolutely. With the advanced connectivity and intelligence of global secure networking from Comcast Business, it's not just possible, it's happening.
It's back. Applebee's all-you-can-eat boneless wings, just $12.99.
New Quaker Fruit Fusion with real fruit pieces. A bold start to a bold morning. Quaker, getting up to some good since 1877.
At LL Flooring, we've seen it all.
It's a rental.
It's a remodel. It's a really bad day.
Can I do this?
You do this. We help you find your right floor at the right price, turning indecision into your best decision. LL Flooring, every step covered.
I brought in Ensure Max Protein with 30 grams of protein.
Those who tried me felt more energy in just 2 weeks. Here, I'll take that.
Ensure Max Protein, 30 grams of protein, 1 gram of sugar. Enter the $10,000 Powered by Protein Max Challenge.
Ophelia pushing water through parts of the North Carolina coastal region. This is in Washington, North Carolina. Homes flooded from bona fide storm surge from this tropical storm, not to mention all the rain that has been coming down in some of the same areas. And the flood threat is far from over as Ophelia continues to push through the mid-Atlantic tonight. Thanks for staying with us. I'm Hurricane Specialist Dr. Rick Knapp.
And I'm meteorologist Alex Wallace, live with you here until 9 p.m. Eastern tonight. We still have alerts, tropical alerts out tonight, not to mention the flood threat that extends into parts of the Northeast. Now, along the coast in places like Atlantic City, a good night to, I would say, stay inside. Rainy, windy conditions here for us. Early reports here of some even road closures thanks to flooding. Got a high wind warning in effect here for you. Just really a raw and just kind of Saturday late afternoon into the evening hours there. D.C., our nation's capital. Look at that. That is not a very inviting shot, right? Gray skies, it's been wet, it's been windy as well, all thanks to Ophelia. Let's get the latest now on this tropical storm.
Yeah, Alex, as is often the case, water is going to start really taking the headlines. With tropical storms, water hazards are often among the most dangerous, and not just at the coast where we've still got issues, but inland as well. Now, the max winds at 5 p.m. at 40 miles an hour, those are in very isolated spots, maybe over the Sounds of North Carolina, maybe over near where that front is, over water. Most of you, if you're getting tropical storm force winds, it's in gusts, not sustained tropical storm force winds. But the system is moving northward, and that's not so impactful in terms of, well, who's going to get the really strong winds along this path. It's about where the rain is going to be the heaviest and who's going to get the onshore flow on the east side of the system to continue the coastal flooding. Look at the gradient between Ophelia and the high pressure offshore. Tremendous onshore flow here into the mid-Atlantic and northeastern coastlines. And, you've got two areas of the heaviest precipitation. The heaviest rain is there just north of the center, going up I-95 in Virginia, where Richmond is under a flash flood warning. And this band coming into the Delaware Bay region is no fun either. And this onshore push is at least happening now at progressively lower tide as we go through the next few hours. But then we're going to have another high tide overnight. And where that circulation center is coming into Virginia, we've got a west to east flow over the Sounds, and that is pushing the salt water onto the Outer Banks of North Carolina from the Sound side. And then on the northeastern side of the circulation, we're pushing the water in the Chesapeake over to the west side of the bay. So that's where the storm surge flooding is still going to be maybe above that 3-foot threshold, especially when we get closer to higher tide overnight. That's where storm surge warnings remain in effect. And then we have coastal flood warnings up in the Delaware Bay region, farther north in the Chesapeake, and onto the Jersey Shore. Again, with your 3-4 a.m. high tide tomorrow morning, could have another round of significant coastal flooding. And I'll show you in a few minutes where the coastal flooding has become pretty significant in the Delaware Bay. Tropical storm warnings still up from the Hatteras, Ocracoke Inlet area, up through the lower Chesapeake, up to Ocean City, Maryland. And then high wind warnings north of that could gust over 50 on the Jersey Shore, could gust at least over 40 in D.C. and Baltimore as the system moves farther to the north. We're gusting to 40 in Atlantic City right now, still gusting to 32 in Hatteras. D.C.'s gusting to 33. And then we've still got all these flash flood warnings here in Virginia. We'll detail those in just a moment.
Wow, some pretty strong winds, right? Pushing their way into coastal Delaware. This was the view earlier today at Seashore State Park. There's more of this to come. Some heavy rain and gusty winds expected throughout the night. High surf and dangerous rip currents are also possible. Well, meteorologist Chris Warren has been there in Rehoboth Beach all afternoon and has more on the dangers in the surf.
Here at Rehoboth Beach, the wind has been consistent. Even yesterday, winds were gusting to 30 miles an hour. Today is a lot wetter. We've seen some heavy rain come through, and with that brings some strong gusty winds. We spoke with the police department. They said there's been some tree limbs down. There were some power outages earlier this morning. Those have been restored. Also some minor flooding. We did see some teenagers get in the water a little bit earlier, and fortunately, Beach Patrol, this is their last weekend, and they were able to get them out of the water because, of course, today, no swimming day for sure. And when we did speak to Beach Patrol, they said that they feel like they have this handled pretty good.
Well, we obviously have double red flagged and no swimming today. We've got about 16 guards that are open to the beach and water that are taking shelter, but still keeping an eye on the public, just making sure nobody goes in.
Got to remember, though, tomorrow, even though the weather will slowly be improving, it's still going to be breezy, not as windy as today. Water is still going to be dangerous. There will be rip currents, and when you see the ocean like this, it doesn't calm down immediately. It doesn't just stop blowing. So the winds are still going to be going, the waves will still be crashing, and we're still going to be seeing maybe not as high in surf as this, but the surf will still be rough. There will be more beach to walk on this around high tide. But as the day goes on tomorrow, it's going to be very important to stay out of the water. And really, that goes for here at Rehoboth Beach all the way up much of the eastern seaboard because rip currents will remain a huge threat.
Such good advice there from Chris Warren as Tropical Storm Ophelia continues to unload heavy rain, strong wind gusts, high surf, coastal flooding along the East Coast. Cities from North Carolina up to New Jersey dealing with all of these issues today and tomorrow. So another weekend in the trenches here on the East Coast from wind and water at the coast and inland. So let's talk about those coastal issues some more. And the reason why we've got the rip current risk as high as Chris was describing today and will tomorrow is because of the tremendous onshore flow between Ophelia and that high off to the north and east. And like he said, the ocean just doesn't calm down immediately after you've got Nigel's swells that came in a couple days ago and then this big system Ophelia. So up and down the East Coast, like today, tomorrow, we're going to have most of you with a high risk of rip currents. And then as the system is moving in this direction, we still have, especially here into the Long Island and Jersey Shore and Rehoboth Beach areas, really high surf pounding on the shoreline. This is the waves crashing onto the beach, could send you head first or shoulder first or something into the sand and on the rocks. That's why it is a life-threatening hazard. And then we've got the onshore push. With the circulation center in this zone, you're pushing the water in opposite directions, and that's why the Outer Banks and the west side of the Chesapeake are still under storm surge warnings. But you also have the possibility, again with high tide overnight tonight, of 1, 2, maybe 3 feet of salt water flooding above normally dry ground onto the Jersey shoreline. That's where coastal flood warnings and advisories remain in effect tonight into early tomorrow. Now, with that westerly flow over the sounds, we are still getting 1.5 to 2.5 feet of flooding on the Outer Banks there, Hatteras and Oregon Inlet, up the Chesapeake, up as much as 2.5 feet, again with the water flowing the other direction. And then up toward the Jersey Shore. Atlantic City is going down right now, but that's because we're on our way toward lower tide. Unfortunately, with that onshore push, we've had plenty of impacts. Look at this report here. Not far from Dover, significant beach erosion in Bowers Beach caused by moderate coastal flooding, water around some homes as the beach has been washed away. So you're not right there on the immediate Atlantic shoreline, but plenty of road closures and problems there in the Atlantic City area. And unfortunately, overnight tonight, we're going to have another high tide in Ocean City, Maryland, up into Atlantic City. That's when we could have another round of significant coastal flooding. So stay off the coastal roads. Yeah. And I wouldn't park an EV where the salt water is going to be. We saw how that worked out in Idalia.
Yeah, absolutely good advice for that. Thanks so much, Dr. Nam. Now, as we follow things here across the next few days, you can see how things have been faring here with Ophelia. This was the storm as it was making that landfall along the North Carolina coast. Rainfall coming on through, gusty winds, now making their way into and through the Mid-Atlantic.
6:45.
Ooh, yeah, you heard that. You saw the big flash, right? Ophelia's impacts have caused power outages across several states, and that includes right here in North Carolina, where a power line exploded there in Atlantic Beach earlier today. At last check, just a bit around 16,000 customers were without power there in the state of North Carolina. Well, how about these ferocious waves inundating coastal North Carolina? The Davis area experienced some significant storm surge this morning. Roads submerged while homes were surrounded by water. Yeah, I would say that's some pretty strong wind. This was early in the morning here. Folks found out that walking through Norfolk, Virginia, it's not an easy task. Lucky, though, that nothing was kind of picked up in all that wind and flung their way. It can always be the danger when you start dealing with winds like that. So, yeah, Dr. Nab, it is not a fun time here for us in the Mid-Atlantic and throughout portions of the southern New England, New Northeast here for this rest of the evening and tonight.
Yeah, and it's downright dangerous on the I-95 corridor in Virginia right now, and that problem could get up into D.C. and Baltimore and Philadelphia overnight. Those are the zones that we are most concerned about between now and breakfast time tomorrow for rain-induced flash flooding. Now, not everybody in here is going to get it, but I think along this corridor that follows I-95, that is where the danger is going to be highest, and that's where we've got a stack of flash flood warnings just to the north of the center of Ophelia. That northern side has been convectively active ever since it was offshore of North Carolina. It's been a lopsided storm, but if you're on that side, then that's where the problems are. And It's going right up I-95 through the Metro Richmond area before long be up getting into places like Fredericksburg. And some of the heaviest rain in all of Ophelia's circulation is here in Metro Richmond right now, where flash flood warning is in effect until 10:15. And just south of there, we've got Petersburg under a flash flood warning till 9. And one more warning all the way down to the North Carolina border. It includes Emporia. That's in effect for a little while longer, till 7 p.m. And in Richmond, that's where we're getting inch per hour rain rates. Again, the heaviest rain, and so a few more inches yet to fall. And look at the impacts that we're getting now up here in Richmond. That's this mention of an impact. High water at the intersection of Belvedere Street and Canal Street, per Virginia Department of Transportation cameras. Then in the Chester area, southern suburb of Richmond, high water at the intersection of Route 10 and US 1. In Addison, not far from Petersburg, high water over Boynton Plank Road in Dinwiddie County. And we've got several roads with high water in various parts of Greensville County. So real impacts on the roads along this same path that the heaviest rain has been happening ever since it made landfall. So you could extrapolate this in this direction and won't be surprised if D.C. and Baltimore get in on it. Maybe the risk isn't as high as in Richmond, but the risk could locally still be there. We'll go a few hours into the future, and you have not only the central convection of Ophelia getting up, maybe not as strong, but getting up into D.C. and Baltimore, and then this southeastern band over Delaware Bay, that could go over Atlantic City and Philadelphia later tonight. And then we're going to have persistent rain as those features kind of combine tomorrow morning and throughout the afternoon in the big cities of the Northeast, from Philadelphia all the way into Boston. So those are the zones that we're concerned about flash flooding tomorrow, Alex.
All right, thanks, Dr. Nab. Well, look at this. Nantucket, right around there, Massachusetts, where it has not been very pretty, did not need more rain, but more rain is exactly what they are seeing today. And as Ophelia moves north, so does even more of that rain through tonight and into tomorrow morning. So we want to give you sort of the timing of when we can anticipate and what we can anticipate here in a few spots. We'll start off here in the mid-Atlantic, in and around D.C. Right now, we're seeing a little bit more of a heavier batch of rain kind of moving right on through. That's continuing to kind of drive on off towards the north and west. So it moves through fairly quickly, but when it hits downpours, and the winds can get a little gustier within some of those heavier downpours as well. That's essentially what we'll be dealing with here for the rest of tonight. You can see by about 9 or 10 o'clock, another batch of some heavy rain comes right on through D.C. Baltimore, you're in there as well. So overall, not the best of travel evenings here and travel nights, working your way around the Beltway, heading on into your Sunday morning. Looks like around an inch of additional rainfall is what is anticipated through tomorrow afternoon into the evening hours. So a heads up there with more rain coming through. Then we head up towards Philadelphia, and that's a spot where we've been under the gray skies and kind of just a misty time here for you. But we'll see some of the rain picking up in intensity as we work our way through the rest of tonight. Here we are starting out around 7 o'clock or so, and you see some more rain, heavier rains coming on through just around the midnight hour. And then that kind of pushes on off towards the north and the west, Easton, the Reading area, all dealing with some of the heavier rain by then. And then we'll be in and out of that throughout the early morning on our Saturday. So it looks like the bulk of some of the heavier rains, at least in Philly, coming in right around the time most of us will be kind of sleeping there. About an inch or so in Philly itself. There could be some higher totals off towards the west. We'll keep an eye on some of those zones just to the south there of Reading. Then we head up towards NYC, New York City, Long Island as well here for you, where we've been dealing with some rain. Another heavier batch that's moved right on through Hempstead. That's continuing to move north and westbound there through parts of the Hudson Valley there for you. So again, more rainfall, intermittent downpours, and some gusty winds at times here for us for the rest of tonight. You can see as we get past the midnight hour, now we're starting to see some steadier rains coming up from the south and then driving its way northbound here from there. So the early morning Sunday, that's where you can anticipate some of the heavier rains coming into the city itself. Looks like about 2 inches. Wouldn't be surprised to maybe see a local higher amount, 2 to 3, I would say. But overall, kind of 1 to 2 inches of rainfall to come here for us in and around New York City. How about around Boston? You're not out of the woods dealing with some rain shower activity here. That'll be kind of rolling around here for the rest of this evening. Then late tonight, past midnight, see how things will be a little quieter and drier. Now, we can't rule out still a few lighter showers, lighter sprinkles late Sunday morning into the afternoon, but it looks like for the most part, things will be calming down here for us in eastern Mass. Boston itself, kind of right on that edge, that line of where we'll be talking about an inch of rainfall. North of that, I'd say less than an inch. Southbound, your better chance to get to an inch of rainfall.
Non-drowsy Claritin knocks out symptoms from over 200 allergens without knocking you out. Feel the clarity and make today the most wonderful time of the year. Live Claritin Clear.
Power outages are unpredictable, inconvenient, and disruptive to your life, posing a real threat to your comfort and safety. When the power goes out, you have no lights, no refrigeration, no heating or air conditioning. Your well or sump pump won't work. Your modern daily electronics are rendered useless. And what if the power's out for days or weeks? Are you prepared? You can be with a Generac home standby generator.
With the Generac, it powers our well, our refrigerator, and my CPAP machine, which are all things that we need to survive on a day-to-day basis.
When a power outage occurs, your Generac home standby generator automatically powers up, so your life goes on without disruption. You and your family are comfortable, safe, and secure. Generac generators run on your home's existing natural gas or propane, and Generac's Mobile Link remote monitoring system keeps you posted on operating status, maintenance updates, and more. Generac generators are designed, engineered, and purpose-built in the USA. Generac is the #1 manufacturer of home standby generators in the world. 8 out of 10 home generators are Generac, with thousands of satisfied customers.
We chose Generac because we see them everywhere. After the hurricane, I looked at my wife and said, thank God we have a Generac. We were safe.
And owning a generator is easier than ever. Special financing is available with low monthly payment options. Act now, and you will also receive a free 10-year warranty valued at $1,035. Call or go online now to request your free quote with one of Generac's 8,000 nationwide dealers. The call is free, the quote is free, and there's no obligation to buy. Call or go online now so the next time there's a power outage, your home powers up. Power your life with Generac. Call or go online to request your free quote today.
A new arrival alarms the brotherhood of muscle. Muscular features signal power and performance. Attributes they've never seen in this build. Behold, a new breed. Ready to swarm. Ready to sting. Ready to electrify. The defiant, power-packed, all-new hybrid electric Dodge Hornet RT. Performance electrified.
It's a fact. No other news network out there is trusted more than the Weather Channel, because America doesn't trust hurricane season to just anyone.
Guys, got hair loss? I know what you're thinking. Should I shave my head? Comb it over? Wear a hat? Just stop. This isn't 1970. Keep your hair and your confidence, because Bosley, America's #1 hair restoration experts, can give you your real hair back permanently. Check them out, because they're giving away an absolutely free information kit and a free gift card to everyone who scans this QR code. Dude, you don't have to look like your dad, because this isn't your dad's hair loss treatment. People all over the country trust Bosley because they're ahead of the curve. They use the latest technology to give you your real hair back. And the best part, Bosley's permanent solution is protected by the Bosley Guarantee. Let them show you for free how awesome your hair could look with an absolutely free information kit and a gift card for $250 off. Scan the QR code. Don't wait. Scan the code now and ask about the Bosley Guarantee.
The Weather Channel, now available to everyone.
This is epic!
Trusted live coverage when it matters most is now yours to stream with the Weather Channel TV app, real-time radar, and maps that let you track all the action. Exclusive storm coverage to keep you informed, landfall cameras and live interactive chats with our weather experts, and so much more. There's never been a better way for everyone to watch the Weather Channel. Available now on these platforms. Download now to start your free 7-day trial.
And you can see the power line and power pole is now on fire and teetering up there back and forth.
Those were some of the sights and sounds as Ophelia rolled ashore earlier today. Now, still bringing wind, but also rain-induced and coastal flooding to parts of North Carolina, the Mid-Atlantic, up into the Northeast. Taking a live look at Ocean City, Maryland. Still got possibilities of some tropical storm force gusts. And even farther to the north and east, all the way out to Long Island. Let's take a look at Hampton Bays, and along Long Island, it's 60s, it's gusty, it's rainy. It's not the best day to be out and about, but at least it is not as rainy and impactful as we're now getting in places like Virginia and onto the Jersey Shore, where we've got a lot of water problems, even in the Delaware Bay. So it's a tropical storm, but kind of barely. I think most of you, if you're going to get tropical storm force winds, it'll be in gusts. But the water problems are what are becoming the bigger and bigger problem here as the system's going to be moving off to the north. And yes, it's going to be weakening, so winds will become even less of an issue. But although all you need is a gust 40, 50 miles an hour and trees can come down, could have some spotty power outages even as the overall system weakens, because we've got such a huge pressure gradient off to the north and east between Ophelia and that high off of Atlantic Canada. So there are some strong winds that we're still dealing with. In fact, there's still enough wind that we've still got a storm surge problem with the low moving from North Carolina and Virginia. You got westerly winds pushing the sound waters onto the Outer Banks. You've got easterly winds pushing the Chesapeake Bay into the western shores there in the lower part of the bay. That's where we still have storm surge warnings in effect. So turn around, don't drown applies. Don't drive across any water-covered road, whether it's fresh water or salt water. Either way, that could be a life-threatening situation. We still have coastal flood warnings that go up all the way to the Jersey Shore with another high tide overnight tonight. 2, 3 a.m., we could have another round of coastal flooding. And Ocean City down to Hatteras, we're still under tropical storm force warnings. Mainly gusts what to be concerned about. And we could have some gusty winds as the center of Ophelia moves through the D.C. and Baltimore areas, where you're also going to be dealing with the heavy rainfall. But look at D.C.'s gusting to 32, Atlantic City to 40, Hatteras to 32. So gusty winds are occurring far and wide. But I think the biggest problem that we've got to deal with over the next several hours is the flash flooding that's currently going up the I-95 corridor in Virginia, Richmond, under a warning till 10 p.m.
Woo. Man, some new video here of some of the severe storms dumping hail across Oklahoma. This in Henrietta, where both the severe thunderstorm and flood watch are in effect there. Essentially here, kind of the midway point between Oklahoma City and Fort Smith there in Arkansas on Interstate 40 is where Henrietta is located there. But you can see that hail coming down in bunches. Doesn't necessarily look like it's all that large there, but a lot of it coming down. Well, that's one of the risks that we are facing here for our day. Hailstones and damaging winds in a few spots. A number of severe thunderstorm watches are in effect here for you. One here in Oklahoma, another one as you move northbound here, eastern, a few counties in eastern portions of Kansas into Missouri, and then also central Iowa. Another severe thunderstorm watch there. That goes until 10 o'clock. So it's already been pretty active in those areas. You can see some of these thunderstorms here, eastern Dakotas, Minnesota, northern Iowa, farther to the south into Missouri, and then a cluster cluster of storms trying to get going here in the eastern portions of Oklahoma. Getting down a little bit closer to Kansas City, you got a storm just to your south, which is severe warned right now. Parts of Cass, Jackson, and Johnson counties until 5:45. Dealing with that storm there, where some damaging wind gusts are the primary risk, along with a bit of hail with that particular storm there. And then just to the south here for the same storm, but you're getting to a different part of Cass, Henry, and Johnson counties until 5:45, dealing with a severe warning there. And you notice there's also a flash flood warning. It's not just producing that threat for the heavy, the gusty winds and possible hail, but also some very heavy rain. So there in Cass County here, including Harrisonville, you have a flash flood warning until 8 o'clock local time there. So some of the other risks that we're facing, talk about the hail threat here for you. In particular, we're going to concentrate on this zone where it's hatched in the white. 2-inch plus hailstones will be a possibility, and we can't rule out an isolated tornado. Torcon values here getting up to a 3 in this red zone, including around Kansas City. So that's another risk that we'll be facing here as these showers and thunderstorms really flare up. We've got the instability and the available energy for these thunderstorms that'll be around through tonight and even heading into tomorrow morning. Watch this area, some heavy rain that could lead to some more flooding.
Introducing New Starry Lemon Lime Soda. Music to my ears.
You don't have ears.
Starry, it's different.
It's the most wonderful time of the year.
Non-drowsy Claritin D knocks out your worst allergy symptoms, including nasal congestion, without knocking you out. Feel the clarity and make today the most wonderful time of the year. Claritin D.
Hey Peyton, thanks for hosting Slider Sunday.
You got it.
But aren't we missing something?
Look who saved Slider Sunday again! Wow. Here we go. Perfect King's Hawaiian slider. Tastes good too.
Classic Eli. Love that guy.
Seriously.
King's Hawaiian Slider Sunday.
The only way to Sunday.
I'm still tasting what's next, even with higher stroke risk due to AFib not caused by a heart valve problem. So if there's a better treatment than warfarin, I'm hungry for that. Eliquis. Eliquis reduces stroke risk better than warfarin and has less major bleeding than warfarin. Eliquis has both.
Don't stop taking Eliquis without talking to your doctor, as this may increase your risk of stroke. Eliquis can cause serious and, in rare cases, fatal bleeding. Don't take Eliquis if you have an artificial heart valve or abnormal bleeding. While taking, you may bruise more easily or take longer for bleeding to stop. Get help right away for unexpected bleeding or unusual bruising. It may increase your bleeding risk if you take certain medicines. Tell your doctor about all planned medical or dental procedures.
The #1 cardiologist prescribed blood thinner. Ask your doctor about Eliquis.
Meet the Chevy ZR2 family. They'll never let you down. With features like DSSV dampers, MT tires, and an off-road performance display. When the going gets tough, it's a family you can count on. Introducing the Silverado, Colorado, and Silverado HD ZR2 family of trucks.
Looking for bladder leak protection that neutralizes odors and keeps you dry? Try new Depend Fresh Protection. It absorbs 25 times its weight and features Dry Shield technology that protects better than pads and keeps you 2 times drier. Try Depend.
This is not just a shot. This is wellness made easy for those who've got plans. Get your flu shot and other vaccines in one trip. Schedule online today.
Have you seen these Priceline deals? Where are we going?
I'm going wherever the extreme winds take me.
Go to your happy place for a happy price. Go to your happy price, Priceline.
Hey, it's me, your dry skin. I'm craving something we're missing. The ceramides in CeraVe. CeraVe with 3 essential ceramides helps restore my natural barrier so I can lock in moisture and we can feel it long after. CeraVe moisturizers.
It's a fact. No other news network out there is trusted more than the Weather Channel.
This is epic.
Trusted to be there where and when you need us. trusted to give you every advantage before the storm.
Absolutely unbelievable.
Because America doesn't trust hurricane season to just anyone.
Where is the storm coming from? You're looking out at Oceanon Pier, so you're looking directly south right now as the wind is blowing from east to west. So it's an easterly wind pushing the Atlantic Ocean through the pier and also bringing in storm surge inundation here onto the beach here in Atlantic City, North Carolina.
Tropical Storm Ophelia making landfall early this morning in Emerald Isle, North Carolina.
Yeah, and that's just about 2 miles from where Justin Michaels was. The storm is still on the move inland, but the hazards continue. Wind and water at the coast and inland, Alex.
Absolutely. Well, welcome back to our special coverage tracking Ophelia. I'm meteorologist Alex Wallace. Here alongside me, Dr. Rick Knabb, our hurricane expert. And Dr. Knabb, this thing is still plowing along, still causing issues out there right now. It looks like transitioning to more of that rain threat really going to be a problem. And we still have issues there for some of the coastal spots with surge.
Yeah, so unfortunately, the heaviest rain, the flood risk is going right up I-95 in Virginia toward D.C., Baltimore. And, tropical storms are part of the mix in the peak of hurricane season. We're past the peak of the peak, but as we're going to see, even Ophelia is not the last one that we're going to be dealing with. We got another one out there.
Yes, indeed. Busy, busy times. Well, this storm is causing problems, not just where it officially made that landfall this morning, but up and down the East Coast. This is from Ocean City, New Jersey. That is some deep water covering the road here. And, well, Northeast, not out of it just yet. We got a decent bit of today heading into tomorrow. Dr. Knapp to deal with this system.
Yeah, and it's going to be causing problems at night with heavy rain-induced flooding. And I really get concerned when we have populated areas on a busy weekend night with flooding. At nighttime, it's even harder to discern what the condition of a road is out ahead of you, if there's water covering it or not, or what the condition of the road is beneath whatever water's covering it. So please stay off the roads in a flash flood warning situation. That's the big concern we have with Ophelia as it continues to move north. And the fact that it's going to go over the D.C., Baltimore areas is more of a rain-induced flood concern than it is a wind concern. But you are getting winds. I mean, no doubt about it. There is a really tight pressure gradient for, dozens and dozens of miles off to the north and northeast of the center of the storm. Enough wind to be pushing the water around. We still could get some storm surge flooding on the Outer Banks and on the lower Chesapeake. But we still have tropical storm warnings going all the way up to Ocean City and in the lower Chesapeake. But even beyond that, we could get gusts above 40 miles an hour up in D.C. and Baltimore as the center gets closer to you. In fact, D.C.'s gusting to 33, just like Hatteras is gusting to 35, Atlantic City gusting to 40. So there are some strong winds out there. But the big problem is the flash flooding. And Richmond, Virginia, currently under a flash flood warning, getting the heaviest rain that Ophelia has to offer right now. And if you look forward in time, D.C. and Baltimore and Philly overnight could get the heavy rain. And I think one of the time periods of concern would be like 11 p.m., midnight. That's when the strongest rain could be coming through D.C., Philadelphia around midnight. And then tomorrow we have the problem moving into the big cities of the Northeast. So, Alex, this is going to be a dangerous time with water overnight.
Yeah, you said it. That nighttime can be very, very, very scary. All right, let's focus in on what we've got in terms of Philadelphia, where you are dealing with the gray conditions. Not a very pretty Saturday evening here for us in and around the city of brotherly love. Again, it's been a bit on the breezy side, kind of misty with showers here and there, and that is really going to be the story for the rest of the day, although we may see some heavier rains try to sneak in also there. In fact, let's time things out here for us. And we're actually going to start off a little bit farther on off towards the south there, Baltimore and D.C., where we are seeing some rain coming on through the heart of the nation's capital, up towards Baltimore, some lighter showers, everything kind of moving in from southeast to northwest here. And that's going to be the theme for the rest of this evening. Occasional rain coming through at times. It could be heavier coming through the area and then moving towards the north and the west. Looks like overnight hours here, maybe getting a bit of a break heading into early Sunday morning. And the main core of this thing should begin to push towards our north, and we should essentially be saying goodbye to it. But another, maybe say an inch or so, I'd say would be possible. Even around Baltimore, seeing that amount. Everyone else looking for less than an inch of rainfall. Now, Philadelphia, for you, again, cloudy skies and some sprinkles for the most part is what we're seeing now. But I think it's some more heavier rains will be coming on through, at least more steady rains coming in later tonight for a period here as we get to around the midnight hour or so. And then we'll be in and out of the showers early on our Sunday morning into at least the late part of our Sunday morning. About an inch for us here in Philadelphia is what we are anticipating. Trenton, another spot that could see about an inch of rainfall working our way through the weekend. New York City, across Long Island, northern Jersey as well. You're seeing some similar steady range here. It's been moving right across the LIE. That'll continue to push its way northbound here up into southern portions of Connecticut. But overall, in and out of the showers, maybe some steadier rains try to sneak in as many are maybe coming back from their night activities or just going to bed. You've got rain coming through for the early part of our Sunday.
It's the most wonderful time of the year.
Non-drowsy Claritin knocks out symptoms from over 200 allergens without knocking you out. Feel the clarity and make today the most wonderful time of the year. Live Claritin Clear.
The best healthcare is there in ways big and small. There when we most and least expect it. We may not see it, but we feel it. It lets us know we're not in this alone. Everyone deserves a healthcare partner who never quits. One who's there for what matters. United Healthcare. There for what matters.
Every day, businesses everywhere are asking,
is it possible?
With Comcast Business, it is.
Is it possible to use predictive monitoring to address operations issues?
We can help with that.
Can we provide healthcare virtually anywhere?
We can help with that too.
Is it possible to survey foot traffic across all of our locations?
Yeah, absolutely. With the advanced connectivity and intelligence of global secure networking from Comcast Business, it's not just possible, it's happening.
Okay, everyone. Our mission is to provide complete balanced nutrition for strength and energy.
Ensure complete balanced nutrition with 27 vitamins and minerals, and Ensure Complete with 30 grams of protein.
When you smell the amazing scent of Gain Flings, time stops. And you realize you're in love.
Steve!
With a laundry detergent. Gain Flings, seriously good scent.
We got a Subaru Forest to Wilderness to discover all the places that make us feel something more.
Subaru is the National Park Foundation's largest corporate donor, helping expand access for all.
Why choose between a longer life or quality of life? You deserve both. And with Kisqali, a treatment for people with metastatic breast cancer, you can have both. Kisqali is a pill that, when taken with an aromatase inhibitor, is the only treatment of its kind shown to both help people live longer and improve or preserve quality of life. Because you shouldn't have to sacrifice one for the other. Kisqali can cause lung problems or an abnormal heartbeat, which can lead to death. It can cause serious skin reactions, liver problems, and low white blood cell counts that may result in severe infections. Avoid grapefruit during treatment. Tell your doctor right away if you have new or worsening symptoms, including breathing problems, cough, chest pain, a change in your heartbeat, dizziness, yellowing of the skin or eyes, dark urine, tiredness, loss of appetite, abdomen pain, bleeding, bruising, fever, chills, or other symptoms of an infection, a severe or worsening rash, are or plan to become pregnant or breastfeeding. Live longer and live well. Ask about Kisqali, and long live you.
New Quaker Fruit Fusion with real fruit pieces. A bold start to a bold morning. Quaker, getting up to some good since 1877.
The Weather Channel TV app, real-time radar, and landfall cams to bring you every angle of the storm. Available now on these platforms. Download now to start your free 7-day trial.
Taking a live look at Ocean City, Maryland. Very ominous looking clouds over the coastline. And we have this really nasty band that's been coming in to the mid-Atlantic, far to the northeast of the center of Ophelia. So it's on again, off again rain, depending upon whether or not you're under that band or not. But certainly still onshore flow, dangerous rip currents, the high surf, and occasional gusty winds to tropical storm force still ongoing as Ophelia moves northward. And the biggest concern I've got overnight is water. Whether it's coastal flooding up here, like in places like New Jersey or the Delaware Bay area, or rain-induced flooding, especially Virginia, eastern Virginia up into the D.C., Baltimore area, where you got a stack of flash flood warnings along I-95 up to Richmond. So Richmond Metro really getting the heaviest rain right now. The flash flood warning goes till 10:15. And to your south, there's more heavy rain on the way, and Petersburg is still under a warning until 9. Even Emporia area, all the way down to the North Carolina border, still under a warning for a little while longer. Look at the reports we're getting from downtown Richmond here. High water at the intersection of Belvedere Street and Canal Street, and high water at the intersection of Walmsley Boulevard and Broad Rock Boulevard. The Virginia Department of Transportation seeing that on their cameras. Chester's got high water at Route 10 and US 1, and high water over Boynton Plank Road in the Addison area. So it's getting real on I-95 and vicinity as the heaviest rain path continues to inch northward along I-95. So even though the risk might not be as high in D.C. and Baltimore as it has been in Richmond, over the next several hours, if this area in Richmond doesn't lighten up, then D.C. could get some very heavy rain late tonight into early tomorrow morning. Now, our Paul Goodlow spent the day in Norfolk, Virginia, and looks at what conditions have been like there all day.
That is the USS Wisconsin. It's a battleship which is now, well, a museum here in Norfolk, Virginia. And off to the left, yeah, we got blue sky. Then we keep going left. That's the Nauticus Museum. Both the Wisconsin and the Nauticus Museum closed early at 1 o'clock today because we're still dealing with impacts from Tropical Storm Ophelia. We got the Elizabeth River here, and on this side we have Norfolk. On that side we have Portsmouth, Virginia. So there's a lot of water around here as high tide is coming back this afternoon, and you keep panning upriver. We even see the cranes here of the container ships. That's about 3 miles away. For much of this morning, we had waves of rain coming through, obscuring even the view of those cranes here. So from time to time, we had some pretty moderate tropical downpours. Now, compared to yesterday evening when we were out here, the river was actually much higher, and it was much colder. It was a lot of moisture, a lot of rain coming on through. We're about 2.5 inches of rain storm total so far. We do expect more waves of rain throughout the rest of this Saturday. Sunday, though, looks much drier, much sunnier. Can't rule out some passing showers. And by the way, along this dock, we're expecting a Carnival cruise line to dock here tomorrow. So better weather for the passengers getting off that ship. But right now, we're weathering the worst of Tropical Storm Ophelia. Not out of the woods in terms of more scattered showers today, but the worst of the things, even including flooding, happened before the sun came up this morning. And by the way, fall also began before sun came up this morning at 2:50 a.m. local time. Reporting from Norfolk, Virginia, I'm meteorologist Paul Goodlow. Back to you.
Wow, you hear it. You see the wind whipping around as well. This is some new video of the hail and the wind there in western Missouri, just outside of Kansas City and East Lynn. More storms are possible for the area as we head on through tonight. In fact, we have a pretty decent bit of real estate that is in the risk zone for some severe weather for the day. Storm Prediction Center has put out and issued a number of severe thunderstorm watches here for us. The newest one being issued, it's right in this area here until midnight, right there, outlining it there, including around the Chanute area, also Springfield as well. That until midnight. Then you still have this one here in Oklahoma, Tulsa, Oklahoma City until 11 o'clock, another one including Kansas City until 9, and then one in central Iowa until 10 o'clock. So yeah, we got this huge zone here in the middle of the country facing that risk for severe weather. Damaging wind and hailstones, the primary risk that we'll be having to contend with. We work our way on into Oklahoma, where we've been watching storms here. These have had a history of producing some large hail. Fortunately, they have turned sub-severe for now, so that's some good news there. But that's not the case farther to the north, dealing with this severe thunderstorm warning here. That continues to expand now. Parts of Cass, Henry, and Johnson counties here in Missouri. This is south and east of Kansas City until 6:30. Watch this storm now. Starting to kind of show some signs of maybe blowing out a bit. Damaging winds going to be a primary risk with that particular storm, and heavy rain. That's already led to now a flash flood warning that includes us in Harrisonville until 8 o'clock there. Then we move up into southern portions of Minnesota. Minneapolis, you're seeing some steady rains, a little bit more heavy rainfall farther to the south and the east. Not a fun ride along 35 right now. We got some stronger storms. They're trying to approach the Winona area as well. And overall, we still have quite a bit of available energy for these thunderstorms. So there'll be more developing as we work our way through the rest of this evening, tonight, through the overnight hours, and even into our Sunday. Watch this zone here with the cluster in eastern Oklahoma and western Arkansas. Could be looking at some very heavy rain associated with that. And that's an area where we do have, through tomorrow morning, a likelihood of flash flooding.
Introducing New Starry Lemon Lime Soda. Music to my ears.
You don't have ears.
Starry, it's different.
It's the final game, folks. This one wins the series.
Struck out with the cheap seats? Important things aren't worth compromising. At Farmers, we offer both quality insurance and great savings. Here, take mine.
We are farmers. Bum, 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 bum.
Who's reached peak fall? The DQ Fall Blizzard menu. Snickerdoodle cookie dough pumpkin pie. They're back.
Plaid. Cardigan.
Ooh, all that and fuzzy boots. They did it.
Too much fall?
Nah, peak fall achieved. DQ, happy tastes good.
Everyone's gonna be there. Try to have fun.
There you go.
Let's go.
This is gonna be the best day of my life.
Seriously?
This is gonna be the best
I can't believe I'm related to you guys.
Well, you are, so.
Life's grander in the first ever Grand Highlander. Toyota, let's go places.
It's the most wonderful time of the year.
Non-drowsy Claritin D knocks out your worst allergy symptoms, including nasal congestion, without knocking you out. Feel the clarity and make today the most wonderful time of the year. Claritin D.
Mr. Clean Magic Eraser powers through tough messes. So it makes it look like I spent hours cleaning.
And no, I didn't.
It makes my running shoe look like new. It's amazing.
Wow. It makes it look like I don't have kids at all.
It's so good. It makes it look like I have magical powers.
With 80% less scrubbing, Mr. Clean Magic Eraser makes cleaning easy. Also available in sheets.
RSV is out there. For those 60 years and older, protect against RSV with Arexvy. Arexvy is a vaccine used to prevent lower respiratory disease from RSV in people 60 years and older. Arexvy does not protect everyone and is not for those with severe allergic reactions to its ingredients. Those with weakened immune systems may have a lower response to the vaccine. The most common side effects are injection site pain, fatigue, muscle pain, headache, and joint pain.
I chose Arexvy.
RSV? Make it Arexvy.
Hi, Grandma. I played baseball today.
Oh, that's great.
What position did you play?
First base.
That's what Grandpa used to play. When our hearing wouldn't allow us to use a regular phone, it made us feel isolated.
It became difficult to communicate with our friends and family.
Clear Captions was an easy solution for us.
Clear Captions provides captions on a phone like captioning on your TV, so you can see what the caller is saying live as they say it.
Making it easy to understand and respond immediately.
There is no insurance or Medicare required. Clear Captions service is provided at no cost to you through a federally funded program. We deliver, install, and train you on how to use your phone, all at no cost to you.
Give your loved ones the independence and connection they deserve.
Call now to see if you qualify to get a Clear Captions phone at no cost to you. Call 1-800-351-2640. That's 1-800-351-2640.
Hundreds of millions of lives impacted.
Look at the wind howling through here.
Thousands of storms forecasted, 40 years of storytelling, and a former National Hurricane Center director. One trusted best-in-class expert team. America's most trusted news network, the Weather Channel.
Well, as Ophelia crawls up the East Coast, it's taken a bit of a toll on some of the flights for our day. Indeed, indeed. This was the scene at New York's JFK Airport. Flights averaging about 2-hour delays here. About 100 canceled flights today here and across the U.S. as this tropical storm moves its way from the mid-Atlantic into the Northeast. Yeah, it's still having some impacts on us, no doubt about it, bringing some of those downpours, gusty winds as well. So the tropical storm, and you can see that as of the last advisory from the National Hurricane Center. 40-mile-per-hour winds with it, moving on off towards the north, right around 12 miles per hour. So there is where the center of the circulation is, basically there in southern Virginia. In fact, some of the heavier rains associated with it are right on that kind of north side of that circulation, impacting us around the Richmond area right now, slowly progressing northbound at this point. But you can see the shield of rain extends all the way even into parts of New England, where there's still some rain showing up there. But overall, the northward progression continuing with the tropical storm warnings as well, still in place here. We're going to still deal with that again, possibly an expectation for some gusty tropical storm force winds in eastern North Carolina into a bit of Virginia, Maryland getting in there as well. So through the rest of the evening, heads up for that. We still have wind advisories here for us, including D.C. and Baltimore, where some of those wind gusts could be closing in on maybe 40 miles per hour, 30, 40 mile per hour wind gusts through our tonight showing up there. As you'd imagine, that would cause some issues in terms of airport travels. And when you look at this particular map, looking at the airport delays now, you see the green, and it's like, oh, this is pretty good. All systems are a go. Well, not quite the case. A little misleading here for you. Are still dealing with some ground delays showing up there for you. The Newark area, JFK, we've been dealing with ground delays kind of averaging around 100 minutes or so in terms of those flights trying to get to these airports, being grounded for that period of time. So, yeah. I would absolutely check with the airlines before getting out to the airport just to be safe. You can see overall delays across the nation getting over 3,000. Cancellations right now up over 100. And I'd anticipate tomorrow, with this thing still hanging around, pushing its way northbound, we'll see more delays at some of the hubs here in the Mid-Atlantic and into portions of the Northeast. So let's take you through the rest of our evening with some of those winds. You can see, look around D.C., potential for 40 to 50 mile per hour wind gusts. Philly, you're kind of in that range too, heading through the overnight hours and into our Sunday morning. Now, from Sunday morning through the afternoon, we will see conditions improving. Look at the Carolinas. In fact, by the time we get to Sunday, 9 o'clock or so, wind gusts, not really expecting any showing up there, and there'll be much less here in the rest of the Mid-Atlantic as well. And throughout the day on Sunday, even those winds around Philly and New York, although still breezy, not as strong as what we'll find overnight into the early morning period there. So we're going to eventually say goodbye to Ophelia, but it still has its ways to go. And, of course, the tropics, the season, still has a ways to go.
Yeah, so say hello to Tropical Storm Philippe. Now, good news about this one is it's pretty far out in the Atlantic, and hopefully it will stay that way, but there's another wave coming off Africa behind that. So we've had 12 named storms form in just a little over a month here in the peak of the hurricane season, and there unfortunately is more to go. I would expect there to be more activity into October, because not only do we have Ophelia moving here and Philippe and the tropical wave here that's just come off Africa, we have the warm waters that are way warmer than average down here in the deep tropical Atlantic, and the Gulf is just waiting for the October secondary peak to perhaps tap into that energy. So no reason to believe we won't have more systems, and you got upper level relatively weak wind shear to aid in Philippe getting its organizational act together. And then this next tropical wave looks to be poised to develop as well. Now, Philippe doesn't have ideal conditions to develop in, but it's enough that it's made it to tropical storm, and enough that the Hurricane Center is forecasting it to perhaps become close to a hurricane as it gets into the middle of the Atlantic. Now, as long as it stays as strong as they're forecasting, it probably stays northeast of the islands. A weaker system could avoid the deep steering and maybe get to the islands, but it would be much weaker if that were to occur. So generally good news, but don't tune out in the Caribbean islands. At least a 2 out of 10 shot over the next week of that next system developing, but those percentages will probably go up. So the colors of the low-level spin of those two systems, here is the high pressure in the middle of the Atlantic that will steer them generally west-northwestward over the next several days. But when we get into the early to middle part of next week, upper-level troughing will start to impinge on much of the Atlantic, including upper-level troughing down to here. That will probably impart some wind shear to these two systems, especially Philippe. And this troughing, if Philippe is strong enough, should be enough to pick it up and turn it to the northeast. It's going to be the dominant system, and it might end up actually absorbing the system behind it. But then hopefully Philippe will stay out to sea. But it is the peak of the season, and we still have more activity. And the closer we get into October, the more we look for homegrown systems. Ophelia, just a taste of what could be to come. More on the coastal and inland water effects of Ophelia when we return.
Dude, you coming?
Alka-Seltzer Plus Power Max Gels Cold and Flu Relief with more concentrated power. Because the only thing dripping should be your style. Plop, plop, fizz, fizz, Winter Warriors with Alka-Seltzer Plus.
A new arrival alarms the brotherhood of muscle. Muscular features signal power and performance. Attributes they've never seen in this build. Behold, a new breed. Ready to swarm. Ready to sting. Ready to electrify. The defiant, power-packed, all-new hybrid electric Dodge Hornet RT. Performance electrified.
Kelly needs new floors.
I need new floors.
So she went to the flooring experts at LL Flooring, and it was as easy as 1, 2, 3, floor. Nice one, Kelly. LL Flooring. Every step covered.
Who's that?
This is my puppy. Cancer. It's different in a child because your child's still growing. I had 14 rounds of chemo. There's thousands and thousands of kids all over the world who need help.
This is my first time having cancer, and it's the very worst.
This September, you can join the battle to save lives during Childhood Cancer Awareness Month by supporting St. Jude Children's Research Hospital.
It's scary to watch your kid battle and fight for their lives.
1 in 5 children diagnosed with cancer in the U.S. will not survive.
Childhood cancer is hard. It's a long road. You just have to give. You have to give someone that hope, and especially with them being so young.
Please call, go online, or scan the QR code for only $19 a month. Families never receive a bill from St. Jude for treatment, travel, housing, or food, so they can focus on helping their child live.
She grew up in this. So when we go to St. Jude, she's happy because that's her home. Every time I take her to the doctor, she's excited because she gets to play. And that's all because of St. Jude.
When you call or go online with your credit or debit card right now, we'll send you this St. Jude t-shirt you can wear to show your support to help St. Jude save the lives of these children.
Si St. Jude no existiera, mi hijo no estaría vivo. Mi hijo sería un angelito.
Let's cure childhood cancer together.
Hey, Peyton. Thanks for hosting Slider Sunday.
You got it.
But aren't we missing something?
Look who saved Slider Sunday again! Wow. Here we go. Perfect King's Hawaiian slider. Tastes good too.
Classic Eli. Love that guy.
Seriously.
King's Hawaiian Slider Sunday.
The only way to Sunday.
Ophelia pushing water through parts of the North Carolina coast. This is Washington, North Carolina, and homes actually flooded from storm surge in a tropical storm. Yes, that happens. And unfortunately now, rain is going to be the big problem. The flood threat far from over as Ophelia pushes through the mid-Atlantic tonight. Thanks for staying with us. I'm hurricane specialist Dr. Rick Knabb.
And I'm meteorologist Alex Wallace, live with you here until 9 p.m. Eastern tonight. Still dealing with alerts from this system tonight, not to mention that flood threat, as we've been harping on, that continues into portions of the Northeast. Now, how about along the coast in places like Atlantic City? Yeah, good night to, I'd say, just keep it on inside, right? Rainy conditions, kind of gusty out there for us as well. We even had some reports earlier of some road closures because of flooding. We have a high wind warning. That is still in effect as well. Raw and gross for us this evening. And I'd say not so great for us here in our nation's capital there in D.C. Again, another rainy, wet, rainy and gusty time for us. That'll continue for the rest of this evening. Some of those wind gusts approaching tropical storm force for the night. Let's get the very latest here on this the storm, Dr. Knabb, which is producing some pretty heavy rain, particularly on that kind of north side of the circulation.
Yeah, and that north side is going up I-95 from Richmond to D.C. Probably loses a little bit of its punch compared to what it's doing in Richmond, but be ready for late tonight for heavier rain and continued windy conditions to come in to D.C. as the system bends around to the right tonight and tomorrow, loses its tropical characteristics, but not its ability to push the ocean around and to have some gusty winds to tropical storm force and to produce some coastal flooding and rain-induced flooding. The center has passed from North Carolina into Virginia, but because of that location, it's producing westerly winds over the Sounds, so you're getting Sound side coastal flooding onto the Outer Banks, and then the easterly winds pushing some of the lower Chesapeake into the western shores of the bay there. So that's where storm surge warnings are still in effect. And we have coastal flood warnings that will remain in effect tonight into tomorrow for the Jersey shoreline, because of the onshore flow at astronomical high tide overnight. Tropical storm warnings remain in effect. I think most of you, if you're going to see tropical storm force winds, it would be in the form of gusts, like you could get in D.C. and Baltimore, especially when that heavier rain moves in, brings some of that energy from aloft down to the surface. We could gust to tropical storm force in that wind advisory area. In fact, even right now, D.C.'s gusting to 32, Atlantic City gusting to 41. So it is windy. Now, but interestingly, Richmond's winds not all that strong because you're close to the center of the circulation, but you are also in the center of action with regard to the heaviest rain that Ophelia is currently producing. And Richmond and your southern suburbs along I-95, they're under flash flood warnings right now. Again, really heavy rain in Metro Richmond. If you can stay off the roads, please do so. And if you're out and about, turn around, don't drown. But that gets harder to discern what water is covering the road ahead of you when the sun goes down. So the dangers will be going up with night. And the heavy rain will move into D.C. and Baltimore later on tonight. I think D.C., your heaviest rain may be coming in 10, 11 o'clock tonight. Philadelphia, you might get something, 11 p.m. midnight with that northeastern band. And then you'll have banding moving through parts of New Jersey and Long Island as the overall structure of the system probably weakens by the time we get to tomorrow morning, but still with that frontal boundary, it will continue to produce some heavy rain and decent gusty winds that will stay to tropical storm force or at least above 30 miles an hour well into tomorrow.
Strong winds pushing into coastal Delaware. This was the view earlier today at Seashore State Park. Now there's more of this to come with some heavy rain and gusty winds expected through the night. high surf, and dangerous rip currents are also a possibility. So yeah, certainly don't want to be stepping into those waters. Well, meteorologist Chris Warren has been there in Rehoboth Beach all afternoon and has a bit more on the dangers in the surf.
Here at Rehoboth Beach, the wind has been consistent. Even yesterday, winds were gusting to 30 miles an hour. Today is a lot wetter. We've seen some heavy rain come through, and with that brings some strong gusty winds. We spoke with the police department. They said there's been some tree limbs down. There were some power outages earlier this morning. Those have been restored. Also some minor flooding. We did see some teenagers get in the water a little bit earlier, and fortunately, Beach Patrol, this is their last weekend, and they were able to get them out of the water because, of course, today, a no swimming day for sure. And when we did speak to Beach Patrol, they said that they feel like they have this handled pretty good.
Well, we obviously have double red flagged and no swimming today. We've got about 16 guards that are open to the beach and water that are taking shelter, but still keeping an eye on the public, just making sure nobody goes in.
Got to remember, though, tomorrow, even though the weather will slowly be improving, it's still going to be breezy, not as windy as today, water is still going to be dangerous. There will be rip currents, and when you see the ocean like this, it doesn't calm down immediately. It doesn't just stop blowing. So the winds are still going to be going, the waves will still be crashing, and we're still going to be seeing maybe not as high in surf as this, but the surf will still be rough. There will be more beach to walk on this around high tide. But as the day goes on tomorrow, it's going to be very important to stay out of the water. And really, that goes for here at Rehoboth Beach all the way up much of the eastern seaboard because rip currents will remain a huge threat.
Well, Tropical Storm Ophelia continues to unload heavy rain, strong wind gusts, high surf, the high rip current risk, coastal flooding along the East Coast from North Carolina up into New Jersey, everywhere in between, dealing with those issues tonight and into tomorrow. And like Chris Warren was saying, such good advice and explanation about how Ophelia is still going to be producing problems at the coast into tomorrow. Even though it weakens, you're still going to have a lot of onshore flow here into the mid-Atlantic and northeastern coast. And that's why the rip current risk remaining high today in that zone, and I don't think it's going to come down much tomorrow. We have to wait for the whole system to move out and for the western Atlantic to calm down. And as long as we've got that strong onshore flow, we're going to have crashing surf, that could get to 10 feet high onto the beach. That could throw you into the sand or into the rocks. It could be a life-threatening hazard to deal with. And also, with that location of the surface low with Ophelia, we're pushing the sound waters to the Outer Banks from the west, producing the lower Chesapeake into the western shores of the bay. That's why we still got storm surge warnings there, where we could still inundate normally dry ground 2, 3, maybe 4 feet above normally dry ground with salt water. And that could also happen in the northeastern part of the circulation with the onshore flow into the Jersey coastline. Water levels still 1.5 to 2.5 feet there on the Outer Banks. Again, that's from the sound side where that flooding is occurring. And over nearly 2.5 feet in the lower Chesapeake with the flow from the southeast. And then you got the coastal flood warnings all the way up through New Jersey because of what's going to happen overnight tonight. Now, we have gone from high to low tide as we're going through the evening, but we're going to go back to another high tide overnight tonight. So in Atlantic City, another high tide is at about 3 a.m. What's going to be happening around that time other than astronomical high tide that will repeat Sunday afternoon? Well, let's look at where Ophelia is going to be. By 3 a.m., it's in Virginia, and you still have an onshore flow into the Jersey shore at 3 a.m. So enough onshore push with astronomical tide to produce another round of some coastal flooding, and you could have it happen a little bit again on Sunday afternoon. So the water problems continue both at the coast and inland, Alex.
And that's oftentimes the case with these systems, right? When they get inland, the water. Yeah. Oh, my goodness. All right, well, let's kind of focus in on what we can expect here. And here's some video of Ophelia as it made that landfall along the North Carolina coast. Rainfall, gusty winds, now pushing its way here essentially across a good portion of the mid-Atlantic.
45, 60.
Well, Ophelia's impacts have caused some power outages across several states. That includes right here in North Carolina, where a power line exploded there in Atlantic Beach earlier today. At last check, just under 10,000 customers were without power there in the state. We've been watching that number kind of fluctuate here this evening. And how about these ferocious waves inundating coastal North Carolina? The Davis area experienced some significant storm surge this morning. Roads were submerged while homes were surrounded by water. Yeah, this is definitely hold on to your hat kind of weather, right? Pretty strong winds earlier this morning as folks found out that walking through Norfolk, Virginia was not going to be an easy task. Lucky, though, those winds did not pick up any kind of debris to hurl their way. That can be a big danger when those winds start to howl like that. And we could still be talking some gusty winds here for us. Again, still a tropical storm, 40-mile-per-hour tropical storm, and some of those gusts are still pretty strong. So that is certainly an issue. That could bring down some tree limbs and knock out more power lines.
Yeah, and this is not just happening in coastal areas. I-95 in eastern Virginia up to D.C., that's where we could have the heaviest rain and the gustiest winds. And they often go together with inland tropical storms because the convection, the rainfall, brings down some of that energy from a few hundred or a few thousand feet up. So this is the zone we're most concerned about here. Again, I-95 through Richmond up to D.C. and Baltimore, the risk is greatest there where we currently have the flash flood warnings. But the risk will continue farther to the north. And I would say when you add in nighttime to the mix, that adds to the danger because we can't tell as well at night if the water is covering the road ahead of us. So turn around, don't drown becomes a harder discernment to make, right? So staying off the roads tonight, if at all possible, is the best advice. Really still coming down heavily in Richmond. That warning goes till 10:15. We've had some of the heaviest rain that Ophelia has to offer right along I-95 here. And Petersburg, your southern suburbs there, still under a warning until 9 p.m. And it's produced some significant noticeable effects here in downtown Richmond. High water at the intersection of Belvedere Street and Canal Street, and high water at the intersection of Walmsley Boulevard and Broad Rock Boulevard. The Virginia DOT being able to see that on their cameras. Chester, the southern suburb, high water, Route 10 and US 1, and high water over Boynton Plank Road in Dinwiddie County. So all up and down I-95 from North Carolina up to Richmond, that's where we've had that heavy rain, and this will continue to follow the interstate, unfortunately. So that means we are at risk anyway for some localized flooding impacts in D.C. and Baltimore. The timing, best we can discern from the modeling, would be late tonight, say 11 p.m. into midnight is when D.C. and Baltimore could get their heaviest rain when that northern side of Ophelia moves in, and that banding on the east side could bring some heavy rain to Philadelphia late tonight into the the hours just right after midnight. But then the circulation will move eastward. You still get that front. You still have some locally heavy downpours during the day and evening on Sunday from Philadelphia to Boston, and that's where the risk of flooding will continue tomorrow, Alex. So, if I'm in D.C. tonight, I'd want to get off the roads earlier rather than later.
Yeah, I mean, it's the safest thing, right? To just stay off the road, stay put, stay put. Well, here's that live look at D.C. here, soaked from Ophelia, and well, that's the case for a good portion of the already soaked and soggy Northeast. The rain's going to continue through tonight and as we get into tomorrow morning as well. So we're going to kind of time this out here for you, give you a sense of when the worst of some of this rain's going to come through as we head on through the evening and how much more rainfall is anticipated to add up out there. Now, we've had one batch of some steady rains kind of move right on through D.C. You can see where that's located now, essentially around Gaithersburg, heading up towards Leesburg. And so we're going to get a bit of a break, D.C., up towards Baltimore before we see some more steady rains try to sneak in later on this evening. So let's take you through it. There's your timestamp starting off here right around the 8 o'clock hour. And again, the break in the action, but then 10, 11 o'clock now, there's where we start to see a little bit more steady rains coming through. And with some of those steady rains, could also be talking about some gusty winds driving through the area. So windy and wet, that's the story for the rest of tonight there in D.C. Looks like D.C. proper less than an inch of rainfall is what's anticipated for us. Maybe a little bit more as you work your way up towards Baltimore. They're on 95. So anywhere from 1 inches here, I think would be the 1 inch, I should say, would be the max, with a few areas there seeing a little bit less than that. Up towards Philadelphia, this is a zone where we have been dealing with a good bit of cloud cover. It's been kind of just a misty, raw type of day. That's what we're seeing right now. Some steadier rains just to our south now, trying to move its way up into the Hamilton area. Some of this is going to try to rotate its way back up towards Philadelphia. Trenton, you're in there as well. So be prepared for more steady and heavier rains to come in over the next couple of hours in and around Philly. Up towards Reading, you'll see that as well. This is now beyond the midnight hour, having to deal with some of that rain there. A little bit more of a break as you work your way towards the south. But overall, we'll just be in that pattern of some steady rains, and we get a bit of a break. Another steady batch of rain comes on through. This is now Sunday during the noon hour, and most of the steady rains are now off towards your north and west of the city. Looks like about an inch of rainfall here for you, even down towards Wilmington. You'll see that. Easton, you're in that 1 inch category, as well as Trenton here. So we're not expecting massive amounts of rain, but certainly enough to certainly wet the roadways up there for you and cause a few slick spots. Otherwise, we head over towards New York City, where we are seeing some showers building just to your south now. That's going to try to rotate its way northbound up across New York and up into northern Jersey as well. We've seen some steady rains across Long Island. That's pushed its way northbound. Newcastle now seeing a bit of that. And so what we'll find here as we work our way through the rest of tonight, there's the city, again, mostly looking for quiet weather. Now, I shouldn't say quiet. It's going to be gusty and breezy. But in terms of some steady rains, we don't really anticipate that until after the midnight hour coming through and into Sunday morning. So that's where we'll anticipate some of our steadier rains calming down once we get into Sunday during the afternoon as well as evening. How much rainfall here? Well, it looks like about 2 inches. Additional rainfall coming on in. You'll see that across Long Island as well, working up towards Yonkers. Some of these areas here in southern Connecticut as well. 1 to 2 inches of rainfall is a real possibility in those locations. And in Boston, you'll also see some rain. You'll see that through the rest of this evening here for you. Lighter rains than what we're finding a bit farther to the south, but nonetheless kind of a grayish time as we wake up on our Sunday morning, in and out of some of those showers. Boston itself looks like right around an inch of rainfall, working our way through Monday afternoon.
Meet the team behind the team. The coach, the manager, and the snack dad, all using Chase to keep up with their finances. The coach helps save goals here because she saved for soccer camp there. And check this out. The manager deposited a check. Magic. And the snack dad, he's getting paid back. Orange slices. Because this team all has Chase. Smart bankers, convenient tools, one bank with the power of both. Chase, make more of what's yours.
Power outages are unpredictable, inconvenient, and disruptive to your life, posing a real threat to your comfort and safety. When the power goes out, you have no lights, no refrigeration, no heating or air conditioning. Your well or sump pump won't work. Your modern daily electronics are rendered useless. And what if the power's out for days or weeks? Are you prepared? You can be with a Generac home standby generator.
With the Generac, it powers our well, our refrigerator, and my CPAP machine, which are all things that we need to survive on a day-to-day basis.
When a power outage occurs, your Generac home standby generator automatically powers up, so your life goes on without disruption. You and your family are comfortable, safe, and secure. Generac generators run on your home's existing natural gas or propane, and Generac's Mobile Link remote monitoring system keeps you posted on operating status, maintenance updates, and more. Generac generators are designed, engineered, and purpose-built in the USA. Generac is the #1 manufacturer of home standby generators in the world. 8 out of 10 home generators are Generac, with thousands of satisfied customers.
We chose Generac because we see them everywhere. After the hurricane, I looked at my wife and said, thank God we have a Generac. We were safe.
And owning a generator is easier than ever. Special financing is available with low monthly payment options. Act now, and you will also receive a free 10-year warranty valued at $1,035. Call or go online now to request your free quote with one of Generac's 8,000 nationwide dealers. The call is free, the quote is free, and there's no obligation to buy. Call or go online now so the next time there's a power outage, your home powers up. Power your life with Generac. Call or go online to request your free quote today.
It's the most wonderful time of
Non-drowsy Claritin knocks out symptoms from over 200 allergens without knocking you out. Feel the clarity and make today the most wonderful time of the year. Live Claritin Clear.
Age is just a number, and mine's unlisted.
Try Boost High Protein with 20 grams of protein for muscle health versus 16 grams in Ensure High Protein. Boost High Protein, now available in Cinnabon Bakery-inspired flavor. Learn more at boost.com/TV.
It's a fact. No other news network out there is trusted more than the Weather Channel, because America doesn't trust hurricane season to just anyone.
With Lemonade Health, I can order my erectile dysfunction medication from anywhere, right from my phone. It's discreet, fast, and affordable. Plus, it gets shipped right to my front door, because after all, some things are just better at home.
Visit lemonadehealth.com.
At Rue La La, feel like $1,000,000 without paying the price. Seize the deals on top names before they're gone. Get in to never miss out. Shop RueLaLa.com today.
Of the Weather Channel, now available to everyone.
This is epic!
Trusted live coverage when it matters most is now yours to stream with the Weather Channel TV app, real-time radar, and maps that let you track all the action. Exclusive storm coverage to keep you informed, landfall cameras, and live interactive chats with our weather experts, and so much more. There's never been a better way for everyone to watch the Weather Channel. Available now on these platforms. Download now to start your free 7-day trial.
Those were some of the sights and sounds as Ophelia rolled ashore earlier today, but it's still inland, bringing rain and flooding to parts of North Carolina, Virginia, up into Maryland, New Jersey, a lot of you dealing with it, and Ocean City, Maryland, still gusting sometimes 30 to 40 miles an hour. And as it gets dark, that makes it even harder to determine if there's either salt water or fresh water, depending on where you are, covering the roadway. So if we can stay off the roads tonight, the better off we will be. So the center of circulation is now over Virginia, and on the northern side of that is where we've got the heaviest rain, and on the northeastern side of that where we've got the strongest winds at the coast and even inland to places like D.C. and Atlantic City, both gusting, to tropical storm force. And we still have storm surge and coastal flooding going on with the circulation center where it is, or pushing water in different directions to coastal areas, not on the Atlantic shoreline, but on the sound side of the Outer Banks and on the west side of the Chesapeake. And we also have coastal flood warnings up into Delaware Bay and the Jersey Shore. So it's still an ongoing problem with the high water. Not as high as it was, but when you get you're going through different high astronomical tidal cycles, the water will go up and down while you continue to have the onshore flow. But we've continued to have that push into Delaware Bay, and in that zone, you have problems with roadways. So at Dewey Beach, Coastal Highway Route 1 southbound is closed from Dewey Beach to Bethany Beach due to high water. So we've got that coastal road problem. And then we've got at the coast and inland the strong winds. We've got tropical storm warnings along the Outer Banks and up the Chesapeake, and wind advisories up here in D.C. and Baltimore, along with the flooding risk that is spreading from eastern Virginia up into D.C. and Baltimore. And look at the wind gusts here, 33 at D.C. and at Atlantic City. And up in Richmond, we're still under the flash flood warning. But north of there, if you go along I-95, you think, oh, the weather's not a problem. But look at what's happening up in the D.C. area. Tyson's Corner, tree blew down on Kidwell Drive. In Purcellville, a tree blew down on Business Virginia Highway 7, East Main Street between Misty Pond Terrace and Pickwick Drive, and a tree blew down onto Maryland 26 in Oakland, outside of Baltimore.
Here's some new video here of some of the storms that dumped hail across Oklahoma. This is in Henrietta, at the halfway point there between Oklahoma City there in Oklahoma and Fort Smith, Arkansas, on Interstate 40. Hail coming down in bunches. We also have that risk continuing for the rest of the evening, and the risk for some flooding because of the heavy rainfall that could come from these storms as well. Huge bit of real estate under the gun for severe weather here for us. You can see the zones of yellow showing up. Those are all severe thunderstorm watches issued by the Storm Prediction Center. One here in Oklahoma, including Tulsa, Oklahoma City, you're in there until 11 o'clock. Newest issued one here goes until midnight here for basically southeastern Kansas into southwestern Missouri. Another one for Kansas City until 9, and then one here in central portions of the state of Iowa until 10 o'clock. Damaging wind, hail would be the primary risk that we face in those areas. Can't rule out, though, an isolated tornado. And you can see it's been fairly active here with these showers and thunderstorms from the Dakotas into Minnesota, and then sliding southbound here across Iowa, Missouri, and into Oklahoma. Getting a little bit closer here to some of these storms here into Missouri. There's Kansas City. Everything is off to your south and east right now. Bates, Cass, Henry counties, you've got a severe thunderstorm warning here for you. That's until 6:30. Watch for some damaging winds. It could be in excess of 60 miles per hour, as well as some quarter-size hail. Also in Cass County, it's a flash flood warning. Some of the rain that's come through has been pretty heavy and steady, leading to that flash flood warning there. So that's another risk, again, with these storms. Now, we head northbound, and not severe weather that we're finding right now, but certainly some stronger storms. Look at this line that's moving its way across southeastern portions of Minnesota. That line will continue to push towards the north and the east, heads up around Eau Claire. That's headed in your direction. So overall, we've plotted the available energy, so there's plenty of that here through the evening hours. More of these showers and thunderstorms and clusters will get going. Watch this zone overnight and into our Sunday morning. Eastern Oklahoma, Arkansas, into Texas here. Some very heavy rain could come from some of those storms. Hence the reason we've got a likely zone of flash flooding. Eastern Oklahoma moving into Arkansas, as well as a bit of Missouri. Heavy rain that could lead to some flooding there.
That looks really high.
It is high. Whenever you're ready.
Are there any snakes?
Nope.
You sure? Here we go.
It's time to push your limits.
You're doing great.
Whoa, is that a buffalo?
Babe, that's a cow.
The all-new Subaru Crosstrek Wilderness. Adventure on the edge.
A truck is a tool, but a Ram is life. It's the let's load up the ATV's life. The my kids play way too many sports life. The let's find a secret spot to fish life. Nice. Discover how Ram powers all the lives you live during Ram Power Days.
During Ram Power Days, get $4,000 retail consumer cash allowance on most 2023 Ram 1500 trucks. See your Ram dealer today.
You need new floors. Where do you even start?
you need LL Flooring. We help you find your right floor at the right price, turning indecision into your best decision. LL Flooring. Every step covered.
Man, I wish I was out there. Let's unretire. Why not?
Dan Marino?
You all right?
22! 22! I'm good right here, bro.
Should we? Don't even think about it.
Why choose between a longer life or quality of life? You deserve both. And with Kisqali, a treatment for people with metastatic breast cancer, you can have both. Kisqali is a pill that, when taken with an aromatase inhibitor, is the only treatment of its kind shown to both help people live longer and improve or preserve quality of life. Because you shouldn't have to sacrifice one for the other. Kisqali can cause lung problems or an abnormal heartbeat, which can lead to death. It can cause serious skin reactions, liver problems, and low white blood cell counts that may result in severe infections. Avoid grapefruit during treatment. Tell your doctor right away if you have new or worsening symptoms, including breathing problems, cough, chest pain, a change in your heartbeat, dizziness, yellowing of the skin or eyes, dark urine, tiredness, loss of appetite, abdomen pain, bleeding, bruising, fever, chills, or other symptoms of an infection, a severe or worsening rash, are or plan to become pregnant or breastfeeding. Live longer and live well. Ask about Kisqali, and long live you.
At Grainger, we're for the ones who pay attention to every little detail. The ones who fuss, tinker, and sweat the small stuff. Because you know the tiniest thing can make the biggest difference when it comes to keeping business moving. We get it. We're the same way, offering access to product experts to help you quickly and easily find what you need. So whatever your industry, you know you're always getting professional-grade products. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Dude, you coming?
Because the only thing dripping should be your style. Plop Plop is Fizz with Alka-Seltzer Plus Cold and Flu Relief. Also try for Fizzy Fast Cough Relief.
It's a fact. No other news network out there is trusted more than the Weather Channel.
This is epic!
Trusted to be there, where and when you need us. Trusted to give you every advantage before the storm.
Absolutely unbelievable.
Because America doesn't trust hurricane season to just anyone.
Where is this looking as the wind is blowing from east to west? So it's an easterly wind pushing the Atlantic Ocean through the pier and also bringing in storm surge inundation here onto the beach here in Atlantic City, North Carolina.
Storm Ophelia making a landfall early this morning in Emerald Isle, North Carolina.
And that's about 12 miles from where Justin Michaels was. The storm is on the move inland now into Virginia, but the wind and water problems at the coast and inland continue. Welcome back to our special coverage. I'm Dr. Rick Nabb with Alex Wallace.
Absolutely. Lots to follow here for us when it comes to Ophelia. With this thing, it's caused some issues here. It's one of those things where you say, yeah, it's not just a tropical storm. No. These tropical storms, they can mean business.
Yeah, and the coastal and inland issues are continuing. We've got coastal flooding in Delaware and New Jersey. We've got flash flooding and trees coming down in eastern Virginia up into the D.C. and Baltimore areas.
Absolutely, and this is something that we're going to have to contend with here as we head through the rest of this evening. Here's a new video here of Ophelia's intense winds lashing New Jersey's coast, about 50 miles east of Trenton, where there is high surf advisories that are in effect. Certainly getting into the waters, it is just not something that anyone wants to be doing right now on a good chunk of the East Coast. That is for sure. But let's get the very latest now on this tropical storm. Dr. Knapp, you've got that.
Yeah, it might not be a tropical storm for all that much longer. We're going to get an intermediate public advisory here at 8 p.m. Eastern time. Maybe they make it a depression then, or it'll happen at 11. Depends on what is found in terms of surface observations over the water areas. It wouldn't be so much right near the center where we get sustained winds of tropical storm force. It could be out over the Sounds, out over the Atlantic. But in any case, most of you, if you're going to get strong winds, it'll be gusts to tropical storm force with sustained winds below that threshold, but enough to bring trees down as we've been seeing. It will weaken as it turns to the right, but bring some heavy rain and coastal effects. So it's still the case that the impacts will extend not just inside but outside of that cone of where the center goes, because look at that huge pressure gradient and this onshore flow that is continuing for many, many miles far away from the center of circulation. And because of where the circulation is, we're getting wind direction going in opposite ways to produce sound side flooding on the Outer Banks and on the western shores of the lower Chesapeake. And that's where storm surge warnings are still in effect. And we've even got coastal flooding that's occurring up into the Delaware Bay region. And we've got coastal flood warnings there. It could have another round of coastal flooding on the Jersey shore overnight tonight, where we've got lower water values than we've seen, but we're going to be headed back toward high tide when we get to 2-3 o'clock in the morning on the shoreline there. And we've got coastal flooding that's causing problems on the roads in Dewey Beach and Delaware. Still got the tropical storm warnings up for now, but again, I'm more concerned about the winds that could happen up in the D.C. and Baltimore area, along with the flash flooding that is headed in that direction, Alex.
How about we get you to a live look a bit farther to the north, because we will extend some of these impacts farther to the north now. Yep. You got places like D.C. you mentioned. Philadelphia may be in line to deal with some heavy rain before all is said and done. It's been pretty gray out there for most of the day, gray and misty and breezy as well. Those winds are right now sustained close to 20 miles per hour there in Philadelphia with some more shower activity. Kind of see the lens there kind of obscured a bit because of some of the wet weather that we've seen. But we want to time things out here for you just a bit, and we'll start off looking in on the mid-Atlantic, where D.C. and Baltimore right now kind of getting a bit of a break from some of the heavier rains. That's kind of shifted off towards the west just a bit there around Leesburg, just west of Gaithersburg as well. But we're not done. We've got more potential heavy rain coming in later on tonight. You see that slides on in coming in from the south. Again, right now it's kind of right around the Richmond area, but that core of some of the heavier rains is going to push its way northbound into the nation's capital. And we'll kind of be with some of that rain through most of tonight, overnight, and into early Sunday morning. Once we start to get past that kind of noon hour, a lot of the steadier rains will have then shifted well on off towards our north. So it looks like an additional maybe up to an inch in D.C., better chance to get to that inch, I'd say, closing in on a spot like Baltimore. And there's Philadelphia again, mostly just gray skies for us. There are some more showers, though, and some steadier rains just to your south and east. That is starting to come in from the south, and that will eventually kind of rotate its way on into your neck of the woods. So be prepared for some more steady rains in your region as well, up towards Trenton. Eventually, Reading gets in some of this rain as well for the basically overnight period now. That's where some of the heavier rains will fall. So a lot of this falling when you're sleeping. So good news, you don't have to contend with it and deal with it here. Just staying put, staying at home, and you'll see those conditions improving as we head on through tomorrow. But about an inch of rainfall to come in and around Philadelphia.
When you can save on Target's Good and Gather groceries and all the fall flavors. When quality ingredients bring more to the table. And when you're serving up taste they love at low prices, that's totally Target.
How you feel can be affected by the bacteria in your gut. Try new Align Probiotic Bloating Relief plus Food Digestion. It contains a probiotic to help relieve occasional bloating, plus vitamin B12 to aid digestion. Try Align Probiotic.
We have a new home. What's next? We have a garage door that doesn't lift, and we have a gate that doesn't open.
So I went on Angie. It took me just a handful of minutes.
The vendors who came through Angie, you were more knowledgeable. They did higher quality work.
They wanted us to be happy with the work done as well.
We felt like we got the most value out of the contractor that we chose.
It is a beautiful garage, I will say.
Connect with skilled professionals to get all your home projects done well. Get started today at Angie.com.
Meet the Chevy ZR2 family. They'll never let you down. With features like DSSV dampers, MT tires, and an off-road performance display. When the going gets tough, it's a family you can count on. Introducing the Silverado, Colorado, and Silverado HD ZR2 family of trucks.
My bucket's leaking.
Hmm?
Look. Oh my gosh, Milo caught a fish.
A fish?
A what?
Back to the lake, fast. Stop taking pictures.
Mom,
baby, all good.
We're a fish ambulance. We are? Totally.
Hang in there, kids.
Almost there.
Okay, guys, let's go.
Bye, fishy.
Life's grander in the first ever Grand Highlander. Toyota, let's go places.
Get saucy. Applebee's all-you-can-eat boneless wings, just $12.99.
Dude, you coming?
Alka-Seltzer Plus Power Max Gels Cold and Flu Relief with more concentrated power. Because the only thing dripping should be your style. Plop, plop, fizz, fizz, Winter Warriors with Alka-Seltzer Plus.
Hey, Peyton. Thanks for hosting Slider Sunday.
You got it.
But aren't we missing something?
Look who saved Slider Sunday again! Wow. Here we go. Perfect King's Hawaiian slider. Tastes good too.
Classic Eli. Love that guy.
Seriously.
King's Hawaiian Slider Sunday.
The only way to Sunday.
Who do you think taps out first?
I think the duck goes the distance.
All right, you about ready to get out? What's this? A hospital bill? For $1,000? Did this guy just say Gap?
He's talking about expenses health insurance doesn't cover.
But with Aflac, you can get money to help close that gap.
Aflac, huh? Aflac! Okay.
Oh, duck one, go zero.
Get help with expenses health insurance doesn't cover at Aflac.com.
You want to race?
For real?
The Weather Channel TV app, real-time radar, and landfall cams to bring you every angle of the storm. Available now on these platforms. Download now to start your free 7-day trial.
Look at this scene in parts of coastal North Carolina from earlier. That's some significant flooding as saltwater being pushed ashore in Washington, North Carolina, getting into some structures. Certainly cars are going to be vulnerable, and we know saltwater is a little even worse on vehicles, especially the electric vehicles. And some places have been getting a combination of saltwater flooding and rain-induced flooding, and we're still dealing with coastal flooding in the sounds of North Carolina and lower Chesapeake, the Delaware and Jersey shorelines. And now we've got also an escalating problem with flash flooding here in eastern Virginia, the Richmond area, especially at risk for people getting into trouble on the roadways. Are still under a flash flood warning. The heavy rain on the north side of the circulation center of Ophelia. And this warning in Richmond goes until 10:15. And I wouldn't be shocked if something has to be extended beyond that time unless this rain lets up anytime soon. And the warning that goes down into Petersburg is still in effect until 9 p.m. And we've had plenty of reports of problems on the roadways in downtown Richmond. A couple of places, the intersection of Belvedere Street and Canal Street, and Walmsley Boulevard and Broad Rock Boulevard. The Virginia DOT able to see this on their cameras. Chester's got water-covered roads, as does Addison, and the rain keeps coming down. Speaking of coming down, trees coming down in portions of the D.C. and Baltimore areas. Tyson's Corner, Purcellville, Oakland, outside of Baltimore. More reports coming in, trees coming down. And it's also happening out west, out in the mountains here in Virginia. Bent Creek, Tower Hill, Pamplin City, Appomattox, trees coming down onto roadways. So please be careful because if you're driving at night, it's harder to see if water's covering the road. It's also harder to see if a tree is covering the road. Heavy rain coming into D.C. over the next few hours. Our Paul Goodlow spent the day in Norfolk, Virginia, and looks at what conditions have been like there today.
That is the USS Wisconsin. It's a battleship which is now, well, a museum here in Norfolk, Virginia. And off to the left, yeah, we got blue sky. Then we keep going left. That's the Nauticus Museum. Both the Wisconsin and the Nauticus Museum closed early at 1 o'clock today because we're still dealing with impacts from Tropical Storm Ophelia. We got the Elizabeth River here, and on this side we have Norfolk. On that side we have Portsmouth, Virginia. So there's a lot of water around here as high tide is coming back this afternoon. And you keep panning upriver, we even see the cranes here of the container ships. That's about 3 miles away. For much of this morning, we had waves of rain coming through, obscuring even the view of those cranes here. So from time to time, we had some pretty moderate tropical downpours. Now, compared to yesterday evening when we were out here, the river was actually much higher and it was much colder. It was a lot of moisture, a lot of rain coming on through. We're about 2.5 inches of rain storm total so far. We do expect more waves of rain throughout the rest of this Saturday. Sunday, though, looks much drier, much sunnier. Can't rule out some passing showers. And by the way, along this dock, we're expecting a Carnival cruise line to dock here tomorrow. So better weather for the passengers getting off that ship. But right now, we're weathering the worst of Tropical Storm Ophelia. Not out of the woods in terms of more scattered showers today, but the worst of the things, even including flooding, happened before the sun came up this morning. And by the way, fall also began before sun came up this morning at 2:50 a.m. local time. Reporting from Norfolk, Virginia, I'm meteorologist Paul Goodlow. Back to you.
Hi, thanks, Paul. Well, we get you now live here from our storm tracker, Charles Peak. They're in Osage County, Oklahoma, dealing with some stormy weather. In fact, a severe thunderstorm warning in place there. You can kind of look ahead here in that darkest shaded area. Yeah, the rain shaft. So certainly some heavy downpours and hail. One of the bigger risks that we're facing with some of these thunderstorms, see some flashes of lightning in there too. That's another risk that we are facing. So yeah, it's not the best of evenings here for us in the middle of the country. Look at the huge bit of real estate that is under some kind of severe thunderstorm watch from Des Moines back down to Kansas City, Oklahoma City, Tulsa in there. Many of those watches going through tonight here. So the next few hours contending with that. Again, wind and hail, the primary risks, but an isolated tornado, something we cannot rule out. It's been active out there already from the upper Midwest, farther to the south as well. Some of these storms here into Missouri, tracking them. This cluster of storms here for you. This is south and east of Kansas City. Got a warning here for us. Pretty large warning is encompassing several counties, including Benton, Hickory, and St. Clair. That warning is out until 7 o'clock. Watch for some, again, damaging wind gusts and a bit of hail. It's been producing some heavy rain, in fact, back towards the north and west of where the cluster is now. Cass County, there's a flash flood warning here until 8 o'clock Central Time. So the good news is we've seen some of the heavy rains shift out of that area. That should allow for things to settle down a bit. Then we head farther to the south. This is the storm that Charles Peak has been watching here in Osage County here, pushing towards the east. There's Tulsa right now, just outside of the warning or just touching some of the northwest suburbs with that particular storm. Watch for some big time hail with that, and more hailers and possible gusty winds farther to the south, and a couple of other storms here, including around the Pittsburgh area, and that's been extended now east to include parts of Haskell, Latimer, and the Pittsburgh counties until 7:45. So just a number of storms that are ongoing, and we'll see more firing up. This is a zone here where hail is going to be a risk here for you, and we'll keep an eye on this area that's hatched in the white, and that likely zone where 2-inch plus hailstones will be a possibility. Yeah, we're talking large hail.
I have type 2 diabetes, but I manage it well. It's a little pill with a big story to tell. I take once daily Jardiance at each day start. As time went on, it was easy to see I'm lowering my A1C.
Jardiance works 24/7 in your body to flush out some sugar. And for adults with type 2 diabetes and known heart disease, Jardiance can lower the risk of cardiovascular death too. Jardiance may cause serious side effects, including ketoacidosis that may be fatal, dehydration that can lead to a sudden worsening of kidney function, and genital yeast or urinary tract infections. A rare life-threatening bacterial infection in the skin of the perineum could occur. Stop taking Jardiance and call your doctor right away if you have symptoms of this infection, ketoacidosis, or an allergic reaction, and don't take it if you're on dialysis. Taking Jardiance with the sulfonylurea or insulin may cause low blood sugar.
Jardiance is really swell, the little pill with the big story to tell.
Sometimes the lows of bipolar depression feel darkest before dawn. With Caplyta, there's a chance to let in the light. Caplyta is proven to deliver significant relief across bipolar depression. Unlike some medicines that only treat bipolar 1, Caplyta treats both bipolar 1 and 2 depression. And in clinical trials, movement disorders and weight gain were not common.
Call your doctor about sudden mood changes, behaviors, or suicidal thoughts. Antidepressants may increase these risks in young adults. Elderly dementia patients have increased risk of death or stroke. Report fever, confusion, stiff, or uncontrollable muscle movements, which may be life-threatening or permanent. These aren't all the serious side effects.
Caplyta can help you let in the light. Ask your doctor about Caplyta. Find savings and support at caplyta.com.
Start your day with Nature Made, the #1 pharmacist-recommended vitamin and supplement brand.
Dude, you coming?
Because the only thing dripping should be your style. Plop, plop, fizz, fizz. With Alka-Seltzer Plus Cold and Flu Relief. Also try for Fizzy Fast Cough Relief.
Shop Macy's VIP sale now. Take an extra 30% off designer brands and save 15% on skincare, makeup, fragrances, and more. Plus, find incredible specials. Own your style at Macy's.
I started experiencing ED. I knew I had to do something about it.
You go online, you answer the medical questions.
The medication is at my house within a couple of days.
Because it is effective, I say I'm on a second honeymoon.
Get started today with RexMD.com.
Every detail counts. That's why I live my life with Lexi B2 hearing aids powered by Bose. When I began experiencing hearing loss, I knew I needed the best of the best. Lexi B2 hearing aids powered by Bose are app-controlled and self-fitting, which means I can tune and customize them to my needs and preferences on the Lexi app and enjoy high-quality hearing. Take the lead and call or order online at lexihearing.com to receive your Lexi B2 hearing aids powered by Bose today.
I wish you were here.
If you have a sleep disorder, proper maintenance of your sleep equipment could help you avoid getting sick. Sleep equipment manufacturers recommend daily cleaning, and SoClean is a helpful complement to your daily routine. Order now and save over $60 at SoClean.com.
It's unbelievable!
Hundreds of millions of lives impacted.
Look at the wind howling through here.
Thousands of storms forecasted. 40 years of storytelling. And a former National Hurricane Center director. One trusted best-in-class expert team. America's most trusted news network. The Weather Channel.
As Ophelia crawls up the East Coast, certainly taking a bit of a toll on flights today. This was the scene at New York's JFK Airport. Flights averaging about 2-hour delays there, about 100 canceled flights today here and across the U.S. as the tropical storm moves into the Northeast. But an update now is no longer a tropical storm. It is a tropical depression. So that's the latest advisory here, the intermediate advisory from the National Hurricane Center, giving a tropical depression status here as of the 8 o'clock hour, moving to the north at 9 miles per hour. You can see the wind speed's down to 35. But the other thing that has changed is the movement to the north at now 9 miles per hour. It was 12 miles per hour at the last advisory, so it's slowed down. That could be a little concerning because there is some very heavy rain that has developed here on that northern edge of that sort of circulation, the center of the circulation, which is kind of right around the Richmond area. So with it moving slower and slower, dumping rain in that area repeatedly, flooding becomes a concern. So that's something that we're going to be watching here as we work our way through the rest of tonight. The wind advisories that were in place, those are gone. So that's some good news as well. The tropical storm warnings that were in place, the storm surge warnings, all those have been discontinued. So that is certainly some good news here when it comes to what is now, again, a tropical depression. Here's a look at the airport delays for us right now, and a little misleading. A lot of green showing up, indicating you look at that, you say, oh, things must be good for the airports and for those flights. Well, not necessarily the case. We are seeing some ground delays that are in play right now. JFK and Newark dealing with that right now. Some of those are kind of hovering right around an hour and 40 minutes or so. So those flights that are coming into JFK, coming into Newark, having to stay grounded for quite some time before they're able to get up into the sky. So it's certainly an evening here to check with the airlines before getting out to the airport with some issues out there. You can see overall we're seeing delays getting up now over 3,500. Cancellations over 100. We've seen those kind of trickle up a bit here over the last couple of hours. So overall, again, an evening to check with the airlines. And we'll probably want to do that tomorrow as well as we watch the system itself continue to kind of work its way north and eventually towards the east. Could be looking at some impacts here at some of the hubs around D.C., Philly, the New York City hubs as well, up towards Boston. And, of course, when some of these big hubs here start going down and having delays, that can oftentimes have a trickle-down effect for other areas across the country. So we could be looking at more travel issues as we head on into tomorrow. As far as the winds are concerned, looking at the wind gust forecast here for us, you can see Philly to D.C., maybe 35, 40-mile-per-hour wind gusts here. Some of that continuing during the overnight hours, but really starting to see an improvement in the wind gusts here as we work our way from south to north as we progress on in through our Sunday. So things will be certainly looking much better for the second half of this weekend, Dr. Nab, across this area.
Yeah, it's amazing what a tropical depression, though, can do. Gusts to 40, 50 miles an hour. Trees are still coming down in Virginia and up into the D.C., Baltimore areas. We'll detail as we go on tonight. And we've had 12 named storms since this active period started a little over a month ago. This is the peak of the season, but this is a little much, right? Not every system has been really strong or long-lived, but a few obviously have. And Philippe is probably going to be a fairly long-lived system because it's way out in the tropical East Atlantic, and there's another wave right behind it, and it's got lots of warm water ahead of it to feast off of, and those waters continue to be way warmer than average in the deep tropical Atlantic. These cooler areas are just where the storms and the hurricanes have eaten up some of the energy, but down south there's plenty yet to fuel these storms. And where Philippe is, the upper level wind shear pretty weak, upper level high pressure generally overhead, and the next tropical wave has come off the coast of Africa as well. So Philippe looking relatively healthy. The burst of convection here as we go into the nighttime portends the strengthening that the Hurricane Center is forecasting. Maybe not rapid, but pretty steady. And if it gets as strong as forecast, it'll probably be tall enough, deep enough to be steered by the deep layer winds, which would probably turn it to the north. It would only get to the islands probably if it is weaker and more shallow. Now, the next system, 20% chance at least, those percentages will probably come up, of development over the next week out over the tropical Atlantic. So you'll see the colors representing the low-level spin of those two systems, Philippe and the next tropical wave. High pressure over the central Atlantic, steering them generally west-northwestward until more troughing develops over the over the western and central Atlantic that will also maybe impart some wind shear. So Philippe might meander a bit as we get into next week and the following weekend. So it's a little too soon to be sure if it is going to turn out to sea. But what we get concerned about as we go into October is not only this year with the warmer than average waters, could more storms form out here in the main development region of the deep tropical Atlantic, but as we get into October, more storms potentially forming on our doorstep, as the Northwest Caribbean and Gulf of Mexico are notorious for in October. The hazards from Ophelia continue. Details next.
Meet the future. A chef, a designer, and an engineer. All learning to save and spend their money with Chase. The chef's cooking up first with her new debit card.
Hungry?
The designer's eyeing sequins, plaid. While mom is eyeing his spending. Nice. And the engineer? She's taking control with her own account for college. 3 futures, all with Chase. Freedom for kids, control for parents. One bank for both. Chase, make more of what's yours.
What will you do when the power goes out? Power outages can be unpredictable and inconvenient. But with a Generac home standby generator, your life goes on uninterrupted because you'll have power when you need it the most.
With the Generac, it powers our well, our refrigerator, and my CPAP machine, which are all things that we need to survive on a day-to-day basis.
Get the security and peace of mind your family deserves with a home standby generator from Generac. 8 out of 10 home generators are Generac, with thousands of satisfied customers.
It's a peace of mind to get the Generac generator. That was the best investment that we could have ever made.
And owning a generator is easier than ever. Special financing is available with low monthly payment options. Act now, and you will also receive a free 10-year warranty valued at $1,035. Power your life with Generac. Call or go online to request your free quote today.
Dude, you coming?
Alka-Seltzer Plus Power Max Gels Cold and Flu Relief with more concentrated power. Because the only thing dripping should be your style. Plop plop is biz, Winter Warriors, with Alka-Seltzer Plus.
A new arrival alarms the brotherhood of muscle. Muscular features signal power and performance. Attributes they've never seen in this build. Behold, a new breed. Ready to swarm. Ready to sting. Ready to electrify. The defiant, power-packed, all-new hybrid electric Dodge Hornet RT. Performance electrified.
That looks really high.
It is high. Whenever you're ready.
Are there any snakes?
Nope.
You sure? Here we go.
It's time to push your limits.
You're doing great.
Whoa, is that a buffalo?
Babe, that's a cow.
The all-new Subaru Crosstrek Wilderness. Adventure on the edge.
Kelly needs new floors.
I need new floors.
So she went to the flooring experts at LL Flooring, and it was as easy as 1, 2, 3, floor. Nice one, Kelly. LL Flooring, every step covered.
We're not writers, but we help you shape your financial story. We're not an airline, but our network connects global businesses across nearly 160 markets. We're not a startup, but our innovation labs use new technologies to help keep your information secure. We're not architects, but we help build stronger communities. We're not just any bank, we are Citi.
Ophelia continues to push water through parts of the North Carolina coast. Even as the sun goes down tonight, we still got some coastal flooding. Homes inundated from storm surge, and now we've got increasingly rain-induced flooding moving northward in Virginia. The threats are far from over as Ophelia pushes through the mid-Atlantic tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for staying with us here. We got Hurricane Specialist Dr. Rick Knapp and meteorologist Alex Wallace here. We're with you here until 9 o'clock Eastern Time as we deal with what is now Tropical Depression Ophelia. So we've seen a bit of a downgrade, certainly not surprising as we've been watching this, but still an impactful system.
Yeah, and this is the stage of a tropical system where I get really concerned. Something goes from storm to depression, the sun goes down, people start to let their guard down, get out on the roads and get into trouble. We still have life-threatening conditions out there with flash flooding and trees coming down.
Absolutely. Well, along the coast, in places like Atlantic City, I would say it is a good evening, good night to just stay put, stay inside. You know, rainy, windy conditions here anticipated for the night. We had some earlier reports of road closures because of flooding. Watch the winds. That'll be pretty strong out there as well. Just a raw and just kind of time for us tonight. And it not much better as you head farther south down towards D.C. We've been dealing with the rain. You can clearly see that here on the lens. Those raindrops there. It's been gusty at times with some of those winds, and that is anticipated to remain the case for the rest of our evening. But let's get to the very latest here when it comes to what is now Tropical Depression Ophelia.
Yeah, Alex, some of the things I'm about to show everybody might surprise you, based on the fact that it's now a tropical depression, how many hazards and problems a depression can cause. Big pressure gradient off to the north of this system. And look at D.C. gusting to 37 miles an hour. It is still very windy out there. Atlantic City gusting to 32, Philadelphia gusting to 29. And you might think, well, that doesn't sound so bad, but we've got some real problems out there, mainly flash flooding due to heavy rainfall, especially in the Richmond, Virginia area, and trees coming down in the D.C. Baltimore region here. Look at out in Dunkirk. A tree blew down on Maryland Highway 4, Southern Maryland Boulevard and Stephanie Roper Highway at Maryland 258 West Bay Front Road. So trees coming down onto roads. So two main problems that can cause. These are probably pretty obvious, but number one, tree could fall on your vehicle while you're driving. That's obviously bad. The other thing is tree could fall on a road and then you drive into that fallen tree. People have gotten injured and killed that way, especially at night. In Morningside, just east of D.C., tree blew down on an outbound Suitland Parkway before Suitland Road. Out in Tyson's Corner, tree blew down on Kidwell Drive. And in Purcellville, tree blew down on Virginia Highway 7, East Main Street between Misty Pond Terrace and Pickwick Drive. So knowing where these trees have fallen is helpful, but I'm sure there are others that we don't know about and that you could run into. So please be careful out there. Stay off the roads if at all possible, especially in areas like Richmond, Virginia, where we've got a flash flood warning until 10:15. It is raining more heavily in Richmond than it is anywhere associated with this tropical depression, and that risk of flooding is going to expand northward and continue eastern Virginia, D.C., Baltimore, Philly, and even out to the coast where we've got possibly some spots could have saltwater flooding, freshwater flooding, or maybe a little bit of both. And in D.C. and Baltimore, I think the heaviest rain could be coming through around 11 p.m. or midnight, 1 a.m. And when the heavy rains come through, the wind gusts increase. So those dangers on the roads could get even more amplified in that area overnight tonight. And this band on the northeast side has been very persistent into the Delaware Bay, southern New Jersey area. That will probably continue. Could bring some gusty winds to Atlantic City and Philadelphia, along with the onshore push that will be maximized at 3 or 4 in the morning. Could produce some coastal flooding there and rain-induced flooding in Philadelphia up into maybe New York City by the time we get to tomorrow morning.
Strong winds, no doubt. You can see that here, pushing into coastal Delaware. You can hear it. You can see some of the sand whipping around as well. This was at Seashore State Park. Now, there's more of this to come with heavy rain and some gusty winds expected through the night. High surf, dangerous rip currents are also possible. Well, meteorologist Chris Warren has been there in Rehoboth Beach all afternoon and has a bit more on the dangers in the surf.
Here at Rehoboth Beach, the wind has been consistent. Even yesterday, winds were gusting to 30 miles an hour. Today, it's a lot wetter. We've seen some heavy rain come through, and with that brings some strong gusty winds. We spoke with the police department. They said there's been some tree limbs down. There were some power outages earlier this morning. Those have been restored. Also some minor flooding. We did see some teenagers get in the water a little bit earlier, and fortunately, Beach Patrol, this is their last weekend, and they were able to get them out of the water because, of course, today, a no swimming day for sure. And when we did speak to Beach Patrol, they said that they feel like they have this handled pretty good.
Well, we obviously have double red flagged and no swimming today. We've got about 16 guards that are open the beach and water that are taking shelter, but still keeping an eye on the public, just making sure nobody goes in.
Got to remember, though, tomorrow, even though the weather will slowly be improving, it's still going to be breezy, not as windy as today, water is still going to be dangerous. There will be rip currents, and when you see the ocean like this, it doesn't calm down immediately. It doesn't just stop blowing. So the winds are still going to be going, the waves will still be crashing, and we're still going to be seeing maybe not as high in surf as this, but the surf will still be rough. There will be more beach to walk on this around high tide. But as the day goes on tomorrow, it's going to be very important to stay out of the water. And really, that goes for here at Rehoboth Beach all the way up much of the eastern seaboard because rip currents will remain a huge threat.
So the fact that Ophelia is a depression does not mean it is done producing heavy rain and the flooding that causes. Still some strong wind gusts, still some high surf and coastal flooding along the shores of the Outer Banks and the Chesapeake Bay and the Atlantic coastline, Delaware and New Jersey. So a lot of issues up and down the Mid-Atlantic and Northeast coast and inland. So let's talk about how that is still happening. So you